night around the same point spread. Monday, I think, was 9.5 tonight, 10.5. And it should be all Tigers downtown at FedEx Forum in this stretch of schedule for the Memphis Tigers. Well, they'll be that kind of favorite every time out and should get there setting up the big game against the Houston Cougars in a few weeks. Dave will be back with us tomorrow. Tiger game, of course, he's busy with Tiger responsibilities. He'll be back with us tomorrow and on Friday as we head into the weekend and get closer to Super Bowl 55 down in Tampa. So since the Adam Schefter tweet on Monday, no more fears, no more concerns so far around maybe any players being impacted by the virus, and it feels like we will get to the 5:30 kickoff on Sunday afternoon. And at some point Sunday night, the NFL will get this season number 101 for them, and Super Bowl 55 in the books, and you know they'll be glad to get to the offseason. Is all these players. At the Ole Miss Bowl game, after the game was over, got back to the hotel, all those players, the biggest thing they wanted to do is not have that mask on. And that's what everybody wants to get to at some point. And we all want to get to it at that point, but we're not there yet. And so until we're there, I'm going to be careful and follow the edicts of people a lot smarter than I am. But if you're heading downtown tonight, you know the distancing, you know the mask, but still enjoy the game tonight for the Tigers in Central Florida. It's a long time from now, but not that long in the world of future schedules. Today, I'm not going to say hell froze over because I never thought it was that. I thought they would. I really thought it would be by now. I thought it would be by 2025, but announced today, September 6th, 2025, War Memorial Stadium, the long-awaited Arkansas State football game. I think they should. I think it should have been a long time before this, and in 4 years, if schedules go the right way, Drew Barrett with me as always. Is great job producing, great job co-hosting. If schedules go accordingly, and the great old saying, you want to make the Almighty laugh, make plans, especially make plans for 4 years because a whole lot can happen.
Oh, you can.
But I took a little gander at the schedules. August 30th, 2025, Ole Miss opens in Los Angeles at the Coliseum against USC. No game scheduled for Saturday, September 6th right now. So I could open, again, all things being like it mostly I hope it will be, do the Ole Miss USC thing, and then be in Little Rock for Arkansas and Arkansas State. I've seen Arkansas State play a lot of times in Jonesboro, a lot of times in Memphis, a couple of times in Oxford. One time ever saw them play in War Memorial Stadium, 1971 with my Little League football team. And I mean, when people say biblical rain and raining upside down, think of that times 50.
Ooh, that does not sound like an enjoyable atmosphere to watch a football game in.
The walkways up and down the stadium look like the Colorado River. I mean, just
that's a lot of rain.
I mean, just rolling by. We were on the east side, so that's looking to the press box at War Memorial. If you've ever been, you can visualize that.
I've sat on the other side before.
Okay, you could not see the press box. It's raining so hard. There was never the first thought of the game stopping.
Oh, of course not. I mean, why would it? It was 1971?
Yeah, and, it's amazing, Drew. Made it through that game that night. I've lived roughly, 50 years later, and we did all that night. We probably didn't wear seatbelts coming home that night. I know I didn't have a mask on.
No, you didn't. It's different times back then. But I'm glad for the announcement, not only for Arkansas State, but for War Memorial. And most people, having listened to me over the years, knows that I kind of poo-poo on old stadiums. I hate Legion Fields. I think glad people's it was time for it to be done. But I like War Memorial. I've been to War Memorial. I saw Arkansas play Mississippi State there back my freshman year of college. And I still think it holds up. I think it's been maintained very well, and it hasn't fallen to pieces like Legion or Ladd Peoples.
It can get a little loose, but a lot's been spent on it. I got good buddies of mine that were on the War Memorial Stadium Commission before it was merged into the Arkansas Department of Parks and Tourism, and I think that's a good call that it was done that way. But friends of mine for years were on the Stadium Commission, did a great job with it. No, it never got just in total disrepair like Legion Field. It was maintained. Bathrooms could get a little cramped. Concourse is a little cramped, especially after you go to the newer show places. But I like the old stadiums. It's my favorite thing to do. I mean, it is the money shot of the day. It's what I go for is when you're kind of in that congested area and you're kind of battling to get through the concourse area, and it's tight in there, and it might be some mouthing going on, and it might be a little too close for comfort for some people. And then you emerge, and there it is. And there's the stadium. There's the field. There's the diamond. There's the court, whatever it is. I love that. And I've got a picture on my phone I'll send to you as proof of it. One of the tighter concourse areas in the world is at the Cotton Bowl Stadium at Fair Park. And I love that feeling. And you're kind of jockeying for position. And then, boom, there it is. And that great panoramic vista of it, and War Memorial's had that in let me get the year right, 1986. Miami was really good. I mean, it was when the U was building, and when they came in, they put it on everybody. And that year they won, I think, at LSU like 44-0 at Baton Rouge in the rain. But they led Arkansas 38-0 at halftime.
Oh my!
Maybe into the third. Anyway. But by the end of the third quarter, it was that big margin. Ended up winning like 51-7. Arkansas was good too, just that Miami was that good. And somebody said, well, we went down to the bathroom, end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter. I hadn't left, but about everybody else has. And I said, well, there's the bright side of things. I mean, down 38-0. There's nobody down here. It's easy to the bathroom and easy back out. But they've maintained it pretty well through the years, and that game will be played. And I know for Arkansas State partisans, that'd be tears in their eyes day. That'd be. I mean, they will say that is the Super Bowl. That is the not finally arrived, but that's the one they pointed to for a long time.
Yeah, it will be, and I think that Arkansas State will take full advantage of the opportunity. Hopefully, Butch Jones will be able to continue on the back of Blake Anderson and his success in Jonesboro, and it will be a good football game. I don't think Arkansas State is one of those programs that you can really count on blowing out any given Saturday in the last few years. So feel really happy for some of those Arkansas State people, because while I know somewhat what it's like to be a little brother to Big Bad UT, man, being an Arkansas State fan in Jonesboro, you're not even the biggest fan base in your own city.
It's hard. It's been hard for them, but it has grown. They've stayed the course. They've made great hires. They got a guy in Blake Anderson that stayed for a pretty good run after really going through 1 year of coaches. And I don't know if Butch Jones will be the coach that day on September 6th. How hard one? Either, neither, or both. Butch Jones, Sam Pittman as head coaches. Either, neither, or both that day, September 6th, 2025. And what will it tell you about them if it's either, neither, or both? What is it?
I will say Sam Pittman is there, because I believe he's going to continue off the somewhat success that he had last year and will build that program back up. I'm going to say Butch Jones isn't there due to the fact that he's going to have success at Arkansas State. I actually have some faith in him to continue what Blake Anderson has done, put together 3-4 good seasons, and move on to a bigger, maybe possibly a Power 5 job. If Sam Pittman isn't there, it obviously did not go very well for Arkansas. If Butch Jones is still there, it probably hasn't gone that good for Arkansas State. And if neither is there, then obviously it was really bad.
Yeah, I'm with you. If Sam Pittman's there, I think that means up. So that'll be 4 seasons, 2021, 22, 23, and 24. Heading into his 6th year after last year being his first, I think that means he's kind of been building block. Kind of, last year was 3-7.
Yep.
Then 5-7, 6-6 this year, 7, 8, 9. The ascendancy.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Sam Pittman is there on September 6, 2025, it's a really good thing for Razorbacks world. If Butch Jones is there, I'm mostly with you. It means if he's there, it's kind of been middling. It's been Blake Anderson 2.0. It hadn't exceeded that, and they want to exceed that. But I don't know if they want him, winning big first or second year and getting out of there. For them, that might be first or second year for someone that's coming in after a successful Butch Jones run. But again, you want to get a good laugh, make plans for September 6, 2025. But that'll be 54 years in between for me, Arkansas State games at War Memorial that night against Abilene Christian. I mean, I can't describe to you properly the rain. You just to set out. I couldn't believe then they didn't cancel it because it was lightning cracking around the stadium.
I know that you don't watch movies, but I know you have seen Forrest Gump. Is it like the scene?
That's the last movie I saw. That's the last movie I saw at the big screen.
Is it like Forrest Gump when he's in Vietnam and describing all the different types of rain? Was it like that?
I felt like that night I was wading through chest-high rain. I mean, I really did. And we stayed, the whole team. I think our coach kind of ran a hand count of who's ready to go. We all wanted to stay. I mean, we stayed to the bitter end. I can't remember the final. Arkansas State won and won handily. I can't remember the final, though, but we were there that night. And that's some of the news out today. There's a lot of news out today. There's Super Bowl news. We will talk a lot about that. And, of course, we will go not once but twice to Super Bowl 55 town. We do it every week with TJ Reeves. We go down to Tampa, St. Pete area and visit with him. And today, maybe the biggest appearance he's ever made with us because, but he was with us the last time they were in the Super Bowl. But he's de facto host at the Super Bowl this year. We will visit with him at 3:30. We'll get his pick. We'll visit with Barrett Jones at 4 o'clock. He's in Memphis. He's not there. But at 4:30, we go to Radio Row. Rick Haro, whom I met for the first time on Radio Row years ago at a Super Bowl, he joins us at 4:30 on Wednesday on the business of sport at 5 o'clock, the business of college basketball on the court with college basketball with the best, the Hall of Famer from the Sporting News, Mike DeCourcy. And at 5:30, Drew and I will talk about the Tigers in Central Florida tonight. Went over both sides pretty well on Monday. We'll do it again today. Not a lot has changed in 48 hours except for a little bit of increase in the point spread. We'll wrap up this day around 5:45 with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Again, Dave's out. He'll be back with us tomorrow, and he'll be with us on Friday, and then the Tigers again on Saturday against East Carolina. So the Tigers prohibitive favorites a bunch over the next few games. And last night there were some upsets around college basketball, but not some of the ones that you kind of have circled for the Tigers on RPI. Look for, on bracketology. Look forward to visit with Mike DeCourcy. It's almost a cuss word to bring up to Mike bubble talk before about middle of February. You notice I have not year. And Mike almost doesn't want to entertain bubble talk until post-Super Bowl, kind of post-Valentine's, around that time on. We're getting close to that. So I might tread very carefully toward bubble talk with Mike today. But through the years, I know him, and I know him well, and I love him. But he'll almost snap at you on bubble talk because I do think it starts a little early in the college basketball world. I think the release of bracketology and a mock bracket on the 23rd of November, it's like
23rd of November. Joe Lunardi drops his in July.
No kidding. I mean, it's like bowl projections after week 1 in college football. Are you kidding me?
Seems like a little bit of a stretch where we played 1 week. I mean, how much of a guarantee that some of the teams that start the season off 1-0 are going to be 6-6 or better at the end of the year? It's just throwing out content because, for one, They know
That's
we're
it.
going to read it. They know we're going to look at it. Every
And
time
we do.
Joe Lunardi posts a bracket in the middle of the summer, I look at it. We all look at it. And we all get
And
mad
then
at
we
him.
get mad about it.
We do, just like I love Shelby Mass's approach from bracketwag.com and USA Today. After every time he tweets out that his new bracket is out, at the bottom he says, "Yes, I still hate your team."
And Shelby doesn't hate us all. And we're going to start visiting with Shelby regularly, maybe probably next week at some point, but for sure in that week after. We're always in our Family Leisure studios, where family and fun come together. The early bird pool sale. Get it now and reserve your installation spot. Beat summer price increases by doing it early. Do it now. Spa sale. Hundreds of spas on order. Reserve yours now. Play gyms in stock and ready for installation. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. We can write last night off to a schedule loss for the Grizzlies. No harm, no foul, right?
Oh yeah, I mean you still go win 7 in a row. Your first loss of the new calendar year of 2021. Back to back, I mean, it's easy to fall down like that. I don't think there's anything to be
a good team too
that scared
against the
of.
Pacers.
Yes, Pacers have a very good team this year, so nothing to be too sad or too worked up about. I don't think, and especially when John Morant has that very, very rare off night, you can understand it.
Yeah, and a lot going on with the Grizzlies and with the canceled or the postponed games, then coming back in the inspired efforts over San Antonio. No biggie to me. 25-point night, though, for Dylan Brooks and lose.
Yeah, and that
feels like wasting one, doesn't it?
It does, and I last year I remember the big statistic was every time Dylan Brooks scored 20 or more points, the Grizzlies were winning at like a 75% rate.
Yeah,
so I wonder what that rate would be this year. That's definitely a Peter Edmiston question. I'm sure he's got that somewhere in his notes.
67129 at the First Bank text line. 360-8255 is always at the First Bank phone line. First Bank, they know what you need. Reliable, trustworthy Memphis bankers that you can get a direct answer from and get that direct answer from them in a very timely quick manner. They make the decisions for you right here in Memphis. All the decisions made for you at home in Memphis, where you're living, where you're working. No out-of-town loan committee, no Birmingham, no Nashville, no anywhere but Memphis. A direct answer from the First Bank banker you're dealing with. First Bank, with stories and a record of customers reaching high. Community banks are the preferred lender of people building a success story. Build your success story with First Bank. That's firstbankonline.com. Visit firstbankonline.com with all that experience they have, people you know and see in the community that you can trust, that are reliable. You know First Bank will help you out, and they've helped plenty of people out, all with deep Memphis roots in banking and business experience away from the bank. They've done it all. Visit firstbankonline.com. That's firstbankonline.com. So the Grizzlies finally back home tomorrow night after a long spell. The Tigers at home tonight, and the Tigers with the work they have to do the rest of the way. I won't say it has to be it does not have to be perfect, but we know the ones they can't lose, and that includes tonight. Celebrate the 55th edition of the big game with exclusive 55-1 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. If you've never tried FanDuel before, this is the time. New users can bet on either team and get 55-1 odds when Kansas City takes on Tampa Bay on Sunday. That's right. You can bet $5 and win $275 if you pick the winner of the big game on Sunday afternoon. We've had fun all year at FanDuel, and you can keep having that fun even after Sunday afternoon into the college basketball tournaments and NBA. Easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet, and when you win, FanDuel, they pay your winnings out in as little as 24 hours. It's easy to place that bet fast during a game. If you see a trend developing in-game, multi-game parlay, same-game parlay opportunity, so you can get a massive payout on a small bet. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and promo code CASH. Use promo code CASH to get started. That's FanDuel Sportsbook. Please use promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager on designated boost market. Deposit required. Max bonus $275. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show every day brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. They are the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. They are at 2600 Ridgeway, and they are online at lexusofmemphis.com. 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis kicking off the new year with the Golden Opportunity New Year sales event. Great offers on 2021 models and always special lease options. Really great special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 901-362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top story of the day, Tigers look to go back-to-back at home for wins tonight against the Knights of UCF and to keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive. Also, Grizzlies lost their first time in 2021 last night to the Indiana Pacers, 134-116. Dylan Brooks led the Grizzlies in scoring with 25 points from 10 of 18 shooting. Grizzlies will look to get back in the win column tomorrow night at home against the Houston Rockets.
I'm with you. Top story, Tigers and UCF again, 10.5-point favorite or so after winning by 27 as a 9.5-point favorite. I'm not going to try to tell Vegas how to do their business. The Tigers tonight, just get a win. I think just get a win. A narrow win would probably cause a lot of nervousness and consternation, but just get to 11-6 somehow. Then 12-6 Saturday versus ECU, then 13-6 next Thursday versus a really bad Cincinnati team, and then try to pull off a shocking upset at Hofheinz Arena, now the newly remodeled Fertitta Center at Houston, or work in a road split at minimum with Wichita State after a loss at Houston. But somewhere you're going to beat Houston, either down there or at FedEx Forum on the last day of the year.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day, it's National Signing Day, where 95% of all high school seniors have already signed back in December, but a few pickups today for local teams as of now, according to 24/7 Sports. No surprises in the top five, as Bama is number 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, LSU 4, Clemson 5, Tennessee currently at 16, Ole Miss at 19, Arkansas at 24, Mississippi State at 25. Memphis is at 46, which puts them as the second highest group of 5 school in the ranking behind Cincinnati at 42. Vandy at 51. Dion has the 84th class at Jackson State, and Arkansas State is at 106.
Prime. But you mentioned it. Where are the Tigers in the AAC?
Second.
What conference do they – we know all this. They're second in the league that they play in. That's what matters. They're not playing in the Big Ten. They're not playing in the SEC. Stay square. Stay at the top there, and then slowly start turning that 45 into a 37 and a 34, something like that. What do you think the max the Tigers could ever achieve at one of the national rankings, whether it's 24/7 or Rivals? What do you think is the best they could ever fall out? Have a big-time local prospect, a legitimate, let's say a 5-star tailback from Whitehaven. They sign him. What do you think it could fall out at?
I think it's unrealistic to throw out top 25 recruiting class, but I think somewhere around 30 to 32 is probably where you top out at.
Yeah, and that's probably the scenario. Say, the number 1 defensive tackle in the country next year is in Memphis. It's the Shelby County youngster. Let's say they sign him and a 4-star tailback from somewhere in Shelby County, and a 3-star wide receiver from Hernando, and a 3-star linebacker from Grenada, or something.
Another good 3-star wide receiver out of Oxford that the Tigers got today.
Like they got today. They sure did. Then I think they could fall 27, 28, 29 in your 30 range.
I think it's possible.
That would be really good.
But top 25,
really
I just think it's too unrealistic. I just think that's kind of separate for a group of 5 school, unless conference realignment comes around again and the Tigers finally get a seat at the table.
Exactly. Exactly. My not top story, National Signing Day. And I fully am aware of how important it is. I'm fully aware that you have to do well on it. I always knew that. I know it now. I knew it way back when, but I am glad that today's been tamped down. I am so glad of it. It was probably the biggest separation I had with this great listening audience, is that I just couldn't do the National Signing Day euphoria like the rest of the audience. We would cover it. We had to because of your interest. You would drive it. You, the listener, would drive me having to be more interested in today than I normally am out of the box, because my standard answer, and to a lot of the people that crafted themselves as recruiting expert, a lot of them were pure phonies. They were talking about watching tape, and they weren't. They were talking about going to games, and they weren't. Now, many do, but a lot weren't. And, you almost never could get ahead of them. They always knew about some 4-star that nobody else knew about, and I thought it was very, very inauthentic from a lot of people. But my standard answer has always been, I'll tell you in 3 years, especially now with all the wave of transferring. I'll tell you in 3 years on all this.
Yeah, I'm not that big into the recruitment just because of, like you said, I don't know how it's going to pan out. And honestly, I don't have the time to really dive into high school football on a national scale. And while a lot of the 24/7 Rivals guys are legit and do spend a lot of hard hours going through it all, there's also some people that just look at what offers a guy has and just throws out a number for him. It's not like they actually evaluated. They see that he's got an offer from Arkansas State, Louisiana Monroe, La Tech, possibly a Memphis, and he's getting looks at from Ole Miss. All right, well, he's a 2.5, 3-star.
Yeah, and there were some that even did less than that and paraded around like they were recruiting expert. When we come back, we go to Super Bowl 55 to Tampa, and we visit with our friend TJ Reeves. That's next.
Get your fill of sports for lunch every weekday on Sports 56 Middays with Greg and Eli. The latest sports talk, sought after guests, your calls and texts, prize giveaways, and more every weekday from 10 to 1 on Sports 56.
It's that time of year again. Time for the big game and time for taxes. David Nanny, CPA, can help you with both. He's sponsoring this year's big game coverage on Sports 56, and David and his team have all the experience you need for all your tax filing needs too. Whether it's a return for an individual or for a small business, give him a call today. 901-763-2000. That's 901-763-2000. David Nanny, CPA for you.
Do not wait for summer. Get your pool now during the early bird pool sale at Family Leisure. Through February the 7th, you can reserve your installation spot on your new pool purchase from Family Leisure. You know the prices like the temperature. They'll go up when it gets warmer, so you must reserve yours now. Family Leisure has hundreds of spas on order, so reserve yours now. The early bird pool sale's happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why...
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together...
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
Sunday, it's Super Bowl 55 as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Kevin Harlan. Join me, Kurt Warner, and the rest of our Westwood One crew. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are looking for back-to-back titles. Tom Brady in his record 10th Super Bowl leads the Buccaneers. If it's Super Bowl 55, it's right here
on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood, Or head to Germantown and Poplar, right across from the hospital. Or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut. Or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
What I'm saying is, this is the anthem. Throw all your
Super Bowl 55 right here on Sunday afternoon on Sports 56 at 5:30. It'll be brought to you by David Nanny CPA, and look forward to all that coverage coming up Sunday afternoon. But right there on the field at Raymond James Stadium, covering his Buccaneers in his backyard, home game of all time, our regular weekly visit with Thomas Reeves Jr. How much fun is it, TJ?
By the way, Thomas Nelson Reeves Sr. is a little excited about this as well. Good to be with you. And this is unusual. It is different. You know, it's usual. It's normal for me to be on with you guys on Wednesday afternoons. But this is the first time that we have ever talked where I can say I am ready to broadcast the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing in the Super Bowl, much less in their home stadium, Brad and Drew. So it's going to be surreal. It's going to be wild. It's going to be exhilarating. And I have a feeling it's going to be a fun, big night for the Buccaneers when it's all said and done. What do you expect me to say when I come on? That the Chiefs are going to win?
Oh, hey, no,
please, I believe the Bucs are going to get it done, and it's going to be a wild night.
And I'm for the Buccaneers. Somebody asked me, so who you for in the Super Bowl? I said, I mostly don't care, but I'm 100% for the Buccaneers for my friend T.J. Reeves. And I'm going to be pulling as hard as I can
now,
for you.
Wolo is on assignment getting ready to call the Tigers game. Would he have just been
Correct.
a contrarian today after I've been on with him all these years and gone ahead and picked the Chiefs anyway today with me on just to, needle me? What do you guys think?
I think he probably would.
I won't say contrarian.
I mean, you've taken enough shots at his Bears over the years. I'm sure that he's going to throw one right back at
and
him.
Deservedly,
yes.
On Wolo and the Bears and all the other Chicago teams
and the Cubs most deservedly for sure on all that. No, I don't think he'd do that. We'll have to get his response to that tomorrow. But TJ, it has to be a lot of fun for you. Take me inside, because I know a lot of times, on game day for sure, man, I don't want to eat anything. Because I don't take any chance of anything going wrong. But especially this year with COVID, from about noon on Friday, are you going to be in your own quarantine for no chance? Because you'll get tested on Sunday, won't you?
Yes, and so I mean it's a bizarre circumstance for all of us. Because, again, you're on kind of pins and needles. You're getting ready for the game. And so, we're having to take all kinds of precautions. It's basically hang at the house. I'm around my wife. I'm around my kids. And get ready to be at the stadium on Sunday when you're around everybody else. And
we scared to drink water.
That with the players. yeah. Well, and it's not unlike that with the players, because I don't know if you guys have talked about this, but Giselle and the kids decided to get out of the mansion, Derek Jeter's place, on Davis Island, not far from where you and I went and had a meal about a month ago near downtown Tampa, and just said, hey, we understand he needs to be laser focused and we have to be careful about COVID-19. And so he's bachelor. Apparently it's a bachelor pad for the last few days, from what he was saying, getting ready for his 10th Super Bowl for this weekend. But everybody's got to take the same precaution. I don't know if you guys have said anything about this, but I saw this just before I came on, that the Chiefs were apparently all prepared to get their hair cut. A bunch of them get their hair cut with a barber that they typically use prior to games and game day, and the barber had COVID-19 and found out about it. And so you could have had a real situation there if they had all been exposed because of somebody cutting their hair and contact tracing, and then what do you do about the game? So I guess over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, it is truly kind of wait and see, almost peek around the corner, peek out from under the covers, and make sure we can get to Sunday, with everybody healthy, COVID negative, and be ready to play the game.
Yeah, TJ, fingers crossed everything goes off as smoothly, nobody's health is in danger, and we have a great Super Bowl. But with the fan attendance, I think down to 22% at Raymond James Stadium, is the NFL still rolling out the red carpet and building it up in Tampa as much as they would in a normal year?
Not nearly as much, but it is some. And so I was in and around the NFL experience with my family last Sunday and got the chance to be around and put a picture up on social media, a couple of places of us being around the Lombardi Trophy. So some of that's going on. The parties are very much scaled back. The Radio Row, which stats you've been on numerous times, is basically non-existent. And a lot of that is that stations and their ownership groups did not want to travel, did not want to take on the liability, the risk, because normally the host would come and stay, and Brett, you can speak more to this, for several days. I've been there, done that. At any of these events, you would go and stay for several days. And so as the radio station employers look at it, and especially the big ones, you might have liability for several, 6, 8 employees that are coming and being there, and a lot of them just chose as companies, we're not going to do this. And so it's strange. However, with the home team being in the game, it is an interesting atmosphere. The local news has been on this nonstop for 10 days and counting, and will build even more for this weekend. Flags up everywhere, especially as you get closer to Raymond James Stadium or downtown. Super Bowl 55 flags, Buccaneers Super Bowl logoed flags everywhere. The atmosphere is definitely building in and around the game, and so there is some of that. Even though the NFL and the normal routine of all the celebratory stuff is definitely tampered down.
TJ, I don't think it will be a huge upset if the Buccaneers win, but for them, they are the underdog. So for them to win and as the underdog to pull the upset, how many stops on D? I'm not talking about 3 and outs, but just not letting Kansas City cash it into points. How many stops do they have to have? How well does Devin White have to play? The two safeties, are they well? That defensive front, can JPP get after Mahomes? Do you think it comes down to some defensive stops for the Bucs?
Yes. I believe, honestly, and I said this going into both the New Orleans and the Green Bay game, you simply want to get to the second half within a score, within striking distance, and have your defense, as you just said, come up with a key stop, come up with a key turnover, and give the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter, as he's done so many times, especially in the postseason, especially in the Super Bowl. So you mentioned Devin White. I love him as a dark horse Super Bowl MVP right now. We've been talking a lot about this week. Everybody's got a prop angle or a wild underdog proposition, et cetera, long odds. Devin White at 40-1 to win the MVP. The second-year linebacker from LSU had 15 tackles in the NFC Championship game to set a Buccaneer playoff record. Had another takeaway, had a fumble recovery in that one, had a fumble recovery and an interception against the Saints, playing at a very high level. He will need to be. As for the two safeties, Antoine Winfield Jr., the son of the former Pro Bowl corner, he is expected to play with the ankle injury. We're still not sure if the other safety, Jordan Whitehead, can play with the injured shoulder. We'll get a further update over the next 2 days. He was limited in practice today, Whitehead. If the Bucs safeties are banged up, that's advantage Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and their weapons down the middle of the field. So, the hell to the Buc defense, but I like the mentality of what you're saying, which is get a stop or two at the key times in the second half, and you can win this game. I'll go back to a year ago against the 49ers, where they led by 10 in the second half and in the fourth quarter, and Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions, not just one, but 2 of them, with them behind by 10 points, and the 49ers couldn't take advantage on offense with Jimmy Garoppolo to put the game away. I will say to you right now, rather obvious, but here it is. If he throws at least 1 interception in the second half in a game that they're behind by a score or so, they're losing Sunday night to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
TJ, First off, I appreciate that little gaming note there about Devin White 40-1. I might have to throw some action on the FanDuel on that one for sure when it comes to Sunday.
He's a very interesting play. And by the way, the only time the Bucs have ever won the Super Bowl, Dexter Jackson, the safety from Florida State, was the MVP. Mm-hmm. The first Super Bowl in Raymond James Stadium. Stats Norsworthy loves these stats. T.J. Reeves and his best Howard Cosell. I remember because I was there. The Ravens beat the Giants. Ray Lewis was the MVP, another defensive player. So it's not crazy that you come around to a Buck playing in his home stadium as a defensive player might win the MVP. Who knows, Drew?
TJ, you've talked me into it. I'm putting the house down on it. No other bets, no over-under, nothing. The house payment is on Devin White. But in a serious note, Tom Brady. Of course, all this week has been meeting with media members, and the idea of him playing past 45 obviously comes up again. How long, especially after the great season that he had this year where he doesn't look to be anywhere near a shell of his former self, do you think he can realistically play? Is 46 the limit, or could we possibly see him get up to 48?
I don't know. I don't know that I go that far with any of that, and I don't really know about 2021. I mean, again, you are very much against Father Time here on an elbow, a shoulder, no matter what your diet is, no matter what your routine with working out and staying in shape is. You're really tempting it to even be able to get through another complete season. It's amazing that he's been able to do that, healthy for this year. It's a testament to, again, that work ethic, the supplements, all the whole TB12 method, the diet, the whole thing. But, they're saying all the right things. Bruce Arians is saying all the right things. So is Tom Brady about if they win this. You talk about a Hollywood walk-off if they win this with a home win in a Super Bowl against the defending champs. If both of them wanted to walk away, what more do you have to prove if you're Tom Brady than winning a 7th Super Bowl, and in the first year away from your old team, you go on to win the whole thing with the new team? You can only go down from there, right? If you're Bruce Arians, you've reached the pinnacle. At that point in time, I mean, you could only go down from winning the Super Bowl. It's the point with Arians or with Brady. I don't know that both of them will necessarily be back. We'll see. Will both of them be back? I don't know, but it's going to be fun to find out if the Bucs do in fact win this. How much longer can Brady go? How much more does he want to go? He has said, "I want to play 3 more years. For right now, I want to play 3 more years." Father Time may catch up. We'll see.
And potentially a walk-off for Rob Gronkowski as well. All right, it's not going to be who wins the rushing battle, and I'm not even worried about total number of yards. How many rushing attempts for the Buccaneers for them to be salting a game away? They're winning it, and they're working on some clock, and they've had that turnover or two like the Niners got last year. How many rushing attempts for Fournette and company?
I think in the formula you're looking at around 15, and that's sticking with the run in the first half, even if things go a little south, which they did at times in the New Orleans game, for example. They stuck with the run, they kept drives alive, it set the play action up. So I think 15 is around the number for Fournette and Jones. And once you get to like 20 or more with ball control and that kind of stuff, you're going to be in really good shape. And I'll tell you this about Leonard Fournette, man, has he come on. We've had these conversations every week. But he scored a touchdown in each of the 3 playoff games. Excellent pass catcher as the little check down, the safety valve, as we've always called it, out of the backfield for Tom Brady. Ronald Jones is kind of the other punch with the explosive runs, but he's not much of a pass catcher. So Fournette could be sneaky Drew Barrett on the Super Bowl MVP too, although I think his odds are a little better. His odds are something like, I think I saw 10-1 or 15-1 as opposed to Devin White.
I like the action.
That could be
I like
another
the 40-1
guy
action.
there. We'll see.
All right, TJ, we're having every guest do this week, and so far only one person, Jeff Moore, our NFL analyst, every Tuesday afternoon with us on this radio station since 1992. He's the only one that's picked Tampa Bay. Give me your score. I know you're a winner.
Yes, it's no earth-shattering secret. I'm going with the Buccaneers, 31-27, something along those lines, maybe 34-28. I think it will be a fairly high-scoring game. It's fantasy land to think that they're going to stop Patrick Mahomes and that high-powered offense and hold them to 10 points, 13 points, something like that. Look, the bottom line is there are a lot of things that have now aligned. If anybody wants to go against Tom Brady playing in a 10th Super Bowl, going for a 7th win, playing it in the home stadium for his team with a coach that's not won it before, when that was all the talk about Andy Reid before they won it last year, with the Bucs looking for revenge after having lost the regular season matchup and having a chip on their shoulder to pay him back, go right ahead. Feel free to take the Chiefs. Go right ahead. I'll stick with Brady. I'll stick with the Bucs at home, and we'll see what happens. I have listened to how they weren't going to beat New Orleans and how they weren't going to beat Green Bay, and guess what? They're in the Super Bowl. So here we go.
And TJ, we look forward to the game on Sunday and just enjoy it so much. I know you'll take it in because it's not every day you get to go to the Super Bowl at home with your team you're working for. So really enjoy that.
Hey, I have been in that stadium since it opened in 1998, working Buccaneer games over 220 times. Gene Deckerhoff and I, the legendary Hall of Fame voice of the Bucs, began counting, and our radio analyst Dave Moore played 13 years for the Buccaneers, as well as being on the radio broadcast now for 14 seasons. We collectively have been in that stadium over 230 times, something like that. This will be the wildest, craziest time that we have ever been in that stadium because now it's for the whole thing. So I look forward to reporting back to you, I believe, happily next week here on Sports 56 and for the Memphis audience, all right?
You got it, man. Enjoy. Take it all in. Thank you, TJ.
Thanks, TJ.
See you, boys.
TJ,
be well. Go Bucs.
You got it. TJ Reeves with us every Wednesday afternoon, and it's got to be special. And that stadium, that setting, it was great. Just there with Ole Miss for the bowl game, and, I mean, this would be something else to be a part of, and so happy for TJ. So it's that time for the Commissary Big Q. For the big game, we've been giving away a 6-pack of barbecue. Yesterday, a 12-pack for the degree of difficulty. Today, a 6-pack of barbecue at the Germantown Commissary or the Collierville Commissary. Here's the question.
Is it Googleable?
Oh, very much so.
Okay.
Text line only, 67129 at the First Bank text line of the current SEC teams. That means all 14 of them right now. So that would encompass South Carolina, Arkansas, A&M, Missouri, even the newer ones. Name the current SEC teams that have had a Super Bowl MVP. You don't have to have all the MVPs for those teams. Just give me the teams that have had a Super Bowl MVP, and it started in Super Bowl one. That one's easy. Give me the current SEC teams that have had an MVP of the Super Bowl, and at the commissary, either location, next week on February 9th, a very special day. There were some Collierville police officers that were critically injured, and they are really having the expenses. And Walker Taylor and his staff, next week on February 9th, next Tuesday, all day, 20% of all the sales that day will go to the officers' expense. That they're critically ill, they need a lot of help. Walker and his staff, they are stepping up to help them. In fact, they were injured at Houston, right there near the commissary at Collierville at Houston Levy and 385. 20% all day to help pay and defray the costs for those two officers. And you know, at the commissary, you can get all that great barbecue, Memphis-style barbecue. Delicious, authentic, Memphis-style slow. At the new one at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, the barbecue nachos originated in Germantown. You need those for the big game to have that party. I know it's going to be muted, lesser attended parties around places for people, but you still got to have some food on big game Sunday. On big game Sunday. Don't turn me into the NFL, anybody. But so you need to start it at the commissary. 754-5540. Online at commissarybarbecue.com, in Collierville and Germantown, and always wrap it up with those terrific desserts like the banana pudding that Dave loves, and I think the best lemon icebox pie I've ever had anywhere. 754-5540. Get the big game started and go online at commissarybarbecue.com in Collierville and in Germantown. Again, the question, name the current SEC teams to have a Super Bowl MVP. Tomorrow, we will have an AutoZone Liberty Bowl related question, and then on Friday, future big game sites. So do your studying and check back with us. We'll check back with you after this break. You're listening to Sports Time.
Catch Super Bowl 55 this Sunday, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Hey, I heard that you just got a new car.
Yes, I sure did, and I could not believe how simple it was.
Really? Tell me what happened.
I bought my car at Cars Inc. They are family owned, and the choices of cars were the best I've ever seen. They even said they could price match with anyone and help me with whatever financing I needed.
Wow, it does sound like they know what they're doing.
Their family has been in the car business for over 30 years, and they're excited about being in Memphis.
Where are they?
5095 Cummington Way, and their phone number is 901-623-7180.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
67129 at the First Bank text line. Take a swing at the Germantown Commissary Big Q on the big game trivia. We've got some that are really, really close, named the current. That means all 14 currently in the SEC that have had a Super Bowl MVP. Some are really, really, really close. And we were talking about defensive winners. TJ liked Devin White as a long shot. Ray Lewis won it as a defensive player way back in Super Bowl V, and the only MVP on a defeated team, Chuck Howley at linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, which, I mean, when did they send the ballots out? Mid-third quarter? Did they forget about John Mackey's 75-yard touchdown? Jim O'Brien with the winning field goal on the last play of the game with a straight-on kicker? Mike Curtis's interception late in that game? What were they watching, Drew?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know when they send those ballots out because they get the vote done pretty darn quickly. I mean, to have everybody turn in their vote for however many people actually vote on Super Bowl MVP, to have it done by the time that they get set up for the trophy ceremony, maybe you do have to do it at halftime.
Well, don't kid yourself. While they would hand, in the 5 that I've been to, all 5 times, I'm going to say with about 5 minutes to go NFL media relations people are feverishly handing out ballots, and they've got collectors everywhere, to turn them back into them. They're not counting all those. You don't buy that, do you?
You're right. I know they're not counting, are they?
And it's like team captains. There's never been a ballot for team captain ever.
No, there really hasn't. And if you filled one out, it doesn't automatically mean that the guy who got the most votes won. Is whoever the coach wanted.
Exactly, and the coach goes. He gets with that player on team captaincy, and I think they probably look at some of those longtime NFL veteran media people and get a sample size from them, but I don't think they're going through and counting 1,200 ballots.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that kind of makes me sad. If I ever do get the chance to be a media member at the Super Bowl, my vote's not going to count. It kind of hurts my feelings.
Well, it's a little bit like at the press conference. First few years, I'd go to the commissioner's press conference, and I'd sit there with my hand up the whole time. They know the 8 or 10 people they're going to for those questions, and they know the questions that are going to be asked before they're asked. They always go to the kid reporter.
Of course.
They always go to Shefty. They always go to Ed Werder. They always go to whomever's the voice of. If it's Al Michaels' year and he's there, if it's Joe Buck's year and he's there, if it's Jim Nantz' year and he's there. And about the third one, I'm sitting there, going, I've had my hand up for 45 minutes. They're not coming to me.
They're not. They're not coming to Little Man from Memphis. I'm sorry.
They're not. They just weren't. And I figured it out. The laugh was on me. Oh, we've got a winner.
Well, at least you figured it out and somebody didn't have to tell you, hey, you can put your hand down. They're not coming.
We have a winner. Alabama, many, many, many times. Georgia, Jake Scott in there for Georgia, as well as Hines Ward. Florida, Emmitt Smith, I know. Tennessee, we know who won it with him. Ole Miss, we know who won it for Ole Miss. And Super Bowl 50, Von Miller, defensive winner from Texas A&M. So we got a winner. Get with that person and take care of him, Drew.
I'll text him back during the break.
And we come back, we'll keep talking Super Bowl Sunday. We'll do it next with Barrett Jones. You're listening to Sports Time on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56.
It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system during the month of February and get a gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat, plus 12 months interest-free. See why I call it February? And with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage. Factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
It's that time of year again. Time for the big game and time for taxes. David Nanny, CPA, can help you with both. He's sponsoring this year's big game coverage on Sports 56, and David and his team have all the experience you need for all your tax filing needs, too. Whether it's a return for an individual or for a small business, give him a call today. 901-763-2000. That's 901-763-2000. David Nanny, CPA for you.
I have a very honest golf instructor. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. My instructor is Marty Fulton, a PGA Life member whom you may remember from Plantation, Whispering Woods, or Holiday Golf Club. When I asked him what I might do to improve my game, Marty, what did you tell me?
Sheldon, I told you to get your clubs together, put them in your car, then take them to the nearest lake and toss them in.
Great, Marty. You're a big help.
Sheldon, you're far better at selling homes than you'll ever be at golf. That's why people often say when you want the job done, call Sheldon.
Thanks, Marty. And if you or someone you know is thinking about selling their home, you should talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. Find out the difference in what they do in my highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option. You or they can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave back with us tomorrow. Tonight he's calling all the action for TV at FedEx Forum between Central Florida and the Tigers. Second time to meet this week. First one was quite easy for the Tigers. Tonight should be about a Xerox copy for the Tigers against Central Florida, and then Tigers on Saturday against East Carolina. Got to win those games to try to get into that NCAA tournament conversation. Still plenty of season left to do that. Super Bowl 55 coming up on Sunday, and we've talked all year on Wednesday at this time with Barrett Jones. He played in the National Football League. He played at Alabama. You know his background. You know it very well. He was a champion, and he was part of the first big blockbuster recruiting class at Alabama. And Barrett Jones, since that day, Coach Nick Saban's been able to keep it going. And today, with the last round of National Signing Day, I've asked you before, when do we think Coach Saban might slow down? You said a telltale sign might be when the recruiting slows down. It didn't slow down today, did it?
No, sir, it did not. This is quite a day for Alabama, and it's just pretty unbelievable the way that he keeps turning these things out. It's pretty amazing. But, yeah, I think that it was a weird recruiting cycle just because of a lot of COVID. And I do think in some ways it did favor those brand name schools. And I think that kind of showed in the cycle because there were a lot of kids, that didn't have a chance to fall in love with, some of those I'm not going to say smaller schools, but maybe not quite your brand name schools. I think Ole Miss is an example. Like Ole Miss had a fine class. But, hey, if you've been to Oxford, it's a nice place to hang out, and you didn't have those kind of opportunities to bring people down. And so I do think that the schools like Alabama and Ohio State benefited in this cycle in some ways because of COVID and because of not having to take visits. And so, that a lot of people just sort of relied on more of the tradition aspect.
Today, Alabama, they signed, in the 2 rounds of recruiting, they signed 7 5-stars. Auburn has signed 3 5-stars since 2017. Florida has signed 2 since 2016. Texas A&M has 5 in its last 3 recruiting classes combined. And Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, they've signed 6 5-stars in his entire tenure at Michigan. Again, Alabama with 7 just in this class. We know the difference Julio Jones made, but add 5 more just like him.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. I mean, you look at this class, it's definitely it's an embarrassment of riches. And I think that was that maybe 2017 class or something that Alabama had, that they were very good as well. If you look back at some of those names, it's a big reason why they just won this past national championship with that senior class, and we're competing for some other ones. So Look, I've said this for a long time. As long as Nick Saban is at Alabama, it's never going to be a question of whether or not they have enough talent to win national championships. The talent will be there. It's just kind of whether or not the teams can, bring it together. So, I do think there's some encouraging signs. I personally would like to see there, be a little bit more balance nationally. And, Oregon and USC both signing top 10 classes. I thought that was a really good sign, just for the state of college football.
Barrett, we're going to get to the NFL, but I do want to ask you one more question about National Signing Day. And when it comes to players' rankings, how much stock should fan bases, you think, actually take into the fact that, hey, we just signed the 49th overall recruit, and he's going to be way better than the 53 or the 153. How much stock do you think people should actually take into account the rankings?
Well, that's a good question because I know that there, people love to say, well, look, I was a 2-star and I played in the NFL, and look, I get all that. But, I mean, the rankings are hard to argue with. I mean, the rankings, of course, they're not right on every person, and you could, pull out 100 individual cases of the rankings being wrong on both sides, of a 5-star being terrible and a 2-star, having a long career in the NFL. But you kind of have to go in some ways in the law of averages. And, I can't remember the stat exactly, but it was something like, 50% of 5-stars get drafted in some capacity, something like that. That's, when you think about it, pretty ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, for as hard of a time as people love to give the recruiting quote-unquote experts, I mean, they get it right a lot more than they get it wrong, okay? And also, let's just be honest about it. The recruiting experts, they're pretty much going on what the coaches are seeing. So it's not like, it's not like they're just independently making these rankings. They're talking with a lot of coaches too, and obviously seeing which schools are offering people. So, again, this is a day where some people like to give the recruiting sites a hard time, but they're right a lot more than they are wrong. And collectively, if you look at the schools that are consistently at the top of the recruiting rankings, those are the ones that are consistently in the college football playoff. I mean, look, you can get a great story with a team here and there that didn't recruit well and made it. But it's a lot easier path when you consistently recruit 4 and 5 stars than when you recruit 2 and 3 stars. I'll say that.
Barrett, who was a player either in your class at Alabama or in your time at Alabama, and then for the same question for in the pros, that you looked across it and you saw him in drills and you saw him in games and you saw him perform and you thought, man, how were you just ranked this? And in the pros, it'd probably be someone from a smaller, lesser-named college that for whatever reason, maybe academics or the tape didn't get out or he blossomed in college. But give me one in your time at Bama and one in an NFL locker room that, boy, the recruiting guys, if they'd have just known about this guy.
Well, the first one that jumps to my head about at Alabama probably is I remember there was a time where we had, Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson. Those are both highly rated guys. But for a while, I used to always be like, man, this Eddie Lacy guy, he's pretty good too. He wasn't that high, as quite as highly touted and recruited as the other guys, but I always thought he was a really good player, and obviously he ended up being a really good player in college, and even in the NFL was a good player for a time. I think he would have been a great player just if he could have, kept his discipline in check a little bit better. And so that's maybe one of them. There's a lot of guys I can think of and name. I mean, another guy who ended up being a first-round pick, so he wasn't this way in the NFL, but that I used to go against all the time was Aaron Donald. And I'm not sure how highly recruited he was out of high school, but however highly recruited he wasn't highly recruited enough because he ended up being a Hall of Famer. He will be a Hall of Famer. So that's a guy who, on the surface, I mean, he's not the biggest guy, but man, he's a stud. And I wanted no part of him in practice every day. I can assure you that.
Barrett, and you know forever at Alabama, my favorite Alabama football player, it's you. I tell people that anytime somebody would ask me that, I say Barrett Jones from Memphis, Tennessee is my favorite player. But I loved one of your teammates, and I loved his folks, loved his dad. I don't know what kind of star Nico Johnson had out by his name on signing day, but I want a Nico Johnson on every darn team I ever have.
Well, there's a lot of good ones. I appreciate that, Brett. It's very kind of you, and I'm not sure either. That's the thing is, to honestly answer your question, like, I didn't usually know who, that I didn't keep up with that much. And most of the players care about it so little. I mean, like, of course, like if the guy's like a number one rated player in the country, like you kind of have a good idea, who that guy is. Like, or if it's Julio Jones, like maybe if you're like a top 10 kind of dude. But after that, I mean, nobody really cares. I mean, once you get there, you're on the depth chart just like everybody else, and you care a lot more about where that guy is in the depth chart than you do about how many stars he has. So I think it doesn't matter to the players nearly as much as it matters to the fans. I know the fans love it, and again, I think it's important because they're just mathematically, it's clearly very important. But it's not that important, to the players once you're actually in the locker room. They're not going to treat a guy differently because he was a certain star.
Barrett, going back to Aaron Donald, kind of, to his team with the Los Angeles Rams and the big trade from the weekend, Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff and a few picks. I'd like to trade on both sides. I think it was a win-win for both teams. Do you share the same opinion, or do you think one team got the better end of the deal?
Well, it's definitely a big risk. I mean, look, I think the Lions, look, it's hard to argue they got a good deal because Matthew Stafford, I don't think he wanted to be there anymore. So from that standpoint, combining that, I mean, they got a few first-round picks and some thirds. And, I mean, Jared Goff, that's the negative part of the deal, not because he's a bad player, but because they have to pay his contract. That's why they got so many picks, because nobody wanted to pay that contract. But the Rams went all in. Look, I mean, they're not going to have any first-round picks for, 8 years now, starting back when they traded for Goff. Oof. But that's a big risk to take. They're going all in to win now. But I also think there's more to it than that. I mean, they're in L.A. They're trying to compete with the Dodgers and the Lakers right now for eyeballs, and also maybe the Chargers too. So they're trying to make a splash and make a big move. And I do think Matthew Stafford is better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's a heck of a player and makes some throws that when you watch him on tape, they make you scratch your head how they're even possible. So I hope he has success, and I've always kind of rooted for him because I felt like he spent a lot of years getting beat up down there.
Stan Kroenke needs people coming through that stadium when we get back to real life. And this time next year, that stadium, SoFi Stadium, that $5 billion dome, will be the host of Super Bowl 56. And I'm sure they're hoping for it to be back-to-back years as the home team hosting the Super Bowl. This year it's the Buccaneers. Tom Brady, 43 years old. It's hard to imagine playing in the NFL one day for me. You played 4 years, Barrett. Tom Brady, I mean, all these years, it's remarkable, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely. It's hard to really even put it in words, honestly. I mean, just how consistent he's been, and I mean, how many times have we said, it's over, it's finally over, like this is it, like we're seeing the demise. Like, I mean, I've gotten fooled by it like 5 different times. I mean, this year, when they were 7-5 going to their bye, I was like, okay, clearly it's not going to happen for them this year. And then here they are again. And, I mean, it's just – look, I used to be a big in the, arguments you have sitting around the dinner table or whatever, hanging out with buddies, and you're arguing, if you're going to say Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time and Belichick's the greatest coach of all time, who's more valuable? And I used to always say it was Belichick. No doubt, Belichick's more valuable. I'll be honest, this run right here has really, really made me question that theory. It's just so impressive what he's been able to accomplish.
It has truly been impressive, and to kind of put that argument to rest, Belichick 1 year without Brady doesn't make the playoff. Brady, now while Tampa Bay did a lot to put pieces around him, around Tom Brady, Brady into the Super Bowl. Barrett, the biggest conversation for the week, and we'll hear it all the way leading up to kickoff, is young versus old, Mahomes versus Brady. It's going to be, that question is going to be answered 1,000 different ways by 1,000 different people. What's another matchup in this Super Bowl that you really like between a few players that you think isn't getting enough coverage?
I think by far the most important matchup in the whole game. I'll give you 2 of them. Number one will be the Chiefs' offensive line against that defensive line of the Buccaneers. I mean, as much credit as Tom Brady's gotten, I mean, the defense of Tampa Bay, particularly that D line, has really stepped up and played well. And if you pay attention to offensive line, the Chiefs I think they're starting 4 backups versus their opening day starting lineup. Including Eric Fisher, who just went down with an Achilles in their last game, who will be out. They've already been missing Mitchell Schwartz since Week 5 with a back injury. those are their two tackles. So that's a major advantage for these pass rushers of Tampa Bay. The other one I would look at would be the defensive backs of Tampa Bay versus the receivers. The receivers of the Chiefs. I think that that was a major mismatch in the first matchup with Tyreek Hill going off, and so can they at least neutralize a little bit those receivers of the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think always starts for me in the offensive and defensive lines as well. And that left tackle, I think it's the left tackle out for Kansas City and
That's right.
and Rimmers.
Both tackles.
Yeah. So I think Patrick Mahomes a few more grumbles and injuries that just rack up over a long course of the season. He was real good in that last game, but I thought he was not 100%. And it's why I'm leaning toward the Buccaneers. All right, Barrett, we're having everybody give the winner and the score. It's that time for you. Who wins Super Bowl 55 and the score?
I'm going to go Chiefs 34-28.
Kansas City 34-28. We have just about had unanimity. Only two Tampa Bay Buccaneer pickers all week of our analysts and of our guests, and one's the sideline reporter for the Buccaneers. He's going to take the Bucs. I understand that. So 34-28. So that would continue a classic run of Super Bowls. We are in a great stretch of Super Bowl games.
Oh, there's no doubt. Look, the Super Bowl has been really fun lately, and this is as excited as I've been about one in a long time. And I know that the crowd will be weird, but look, I'm jacked about looking at this matchup. You can't get jacked up by the Super Bowl, and something you must not like football.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Barrett, we'll do it one more time next week if you can. Put a wrap on the year, and then we'll check with you periodically in the summer if time allows it, and visit next week. Okay.
Looking forward to it, Brett.
Thank you, Barrett.
Thanks,
really
Barrett.
Appreciate it. Barrett Jones talking college and pro football with us all year. National champion at Alabama, Outland Trophy winner, and winner of the Campbell Award that Brady White just picked up for the University of Memphis, the academic Heisman. Very prestigious award, and I know Barrett, as he voiced with us after Brady was announced the winner, just so very, very honored to be now listed with Brady White, and I'm sure Brady White likewise with Barrett. I've told the University of Memphis staff, Drew, in the media guides, when you kind of get quotes about the coach from people that played for him and people around the sport, next year, I'm sure it's going to be. They probably didn't need – no, they didn't need me suggesting, but a page dedicated to Brady White, pages dedicated to Brady White with that, and get a quote from some of the past winners of the Campbell Award, including a Memphian like Barrett Jones.
Oh, I'm sure Chuck and Michael are all over it and have it planned out and laid out for next year's media guide. But you're exactly right. And to be one of now only 3 award-winning players at the University of Memphis, I mean, he's clearly put himself in the Hall of Fame, the lore of Tiger football. And, I mean, you can't – if Cotton Bowl, if just saying Cotton Bowl doesn't end that argument, I don't know what will, and I'm not going to have that conversation with you. If you legitimately think that Brady White isn't a legend in his own right at the University of Memphis, then I'm not even going to waste my time.
Yeah, I think it's already should be acclaimed, but the test of time will really do him well, too.
It will.
I mean, when people look back and remember, oh, yeah, a conference championship game at the Liberty Bowl Stadium. I wasn't one of the ones that booed. Maybe those people will say that. In that Cotton Bowl trip.
In 5 years, you won't find a single person that will admit to being one of – it had to have been at least 1,000, 2,000 in that 40 to 45,000 crowd that did boo him for it to be as loud as it was. And in 5 years, everyone's going to be like, no, I would never have done that. Brady White was a legend. I enjoyed every second he played, never made a bad mistake, would never have done that.
Yeah, I don't want to be around that person that did now, much less in a few years. So Barrett picks the Kansas City Chiefs 34-28. Only Jeff Moore at $38.30 and TJ at $31.27. Of course, he is. Wouldn't expect him to do anything else. That's the only Buccaneer pickers. We'll get everybody's pick. We'll get Rick Harrow's in the next segment. We'll get Mike DeCourcy. We'll have ours on Friday about 5:30. I know which way I'm leaning, and I've already said who I'm for, so I'm going to pick and leaning what I already said, who I'm kind of rooting for. And why on Sunday for TJ? That's just got to be a lot of fun to be associated with a team like that. Did you notice who got a lot of the Senior Bowl publicity of players that opted out of the 2020 season but got a lot of attention at the Senior Bowl, and he's going in the first 7 or 8 picks? Speaking of Cotton Bowl.
I did not, actually.
Micah Parsons, that linebacker from Penn State.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. That dude had a career day at the Cotton Bowl.
Unblockable.
He was unblockable. I mean, not even just being in the backfield. It seemed like it seemed like you thought he was on this side of the field, and half a second later, he's completely on the other side, just going coast to coast. He just killed the Tigers all day long. That dude is going to be special.
He was probably the difference in that game. I know it was a wild, high-scoring affair, but it was a day that Penn State had to get just a few, just wing them a few times. Not necessarily stops, created some turnovers, and he was the big reason. It was like it was two of him out there.
It really
I thought
was.
if he had returned for a normal final season of college football, he would have been up there in some defensive Heisman conversation like Chase Young from Ohio State was the season before in the Big Ten.
Oh, I think he would have as well, because while even if that's just a career high day, his average days are still really, really good. So he could have definitely put himself in that conversation, and I look forward to watching him at the next level and see what he can do in the National Football League.
So, Drew, you're very fortunate. Most of your Super Bowl watching, do you remember the first Super Bowl that you can kind of remember, whether it was at a party or around your parents? Do you remember consciously watching most of the game?
I'm sure I watched most of the games before I can even remember, just from what my parents have told me, that if any sporting event was on, I was glued to the TV from the day I was born. The first one that I can consciously remember watching has to have been Ravens-Giants. I think I was 6 in 2000.
So
I was
most
about
of the 21st century.
Yes, about 5 or 6. I remember
had
that.
Good games.
Oh, yes, I really have. I remember very vividly watching Patriots-Rams and everyone since that. But the Ravens Giants one, and due to the fact that my family is mostly from Baltimore and huge Ravens fans, that it does automatically just stick out into your mind because it was a bigger day than other Super Bowls.
Yeah, and that first Tom Brady Super Bowl, January, February of 2002, after the season of 2001, 9/11 season for all of us, and in the NFL. And that day, they were the plucky underdog.
Oh, they were.
They were going against the big bad Rams, greatest show on earth, and the Rams had just won it the year or two before with Dick Vermeil, and then Mike Martz took over. They won it. They won it in January, February of 2000, and this is 2 years later, I think. And still had Marshall Faulk, still had Isaac Bruce, still had Torrey Holt, had Kurt Warner, had all that offensive firepower, and nobody knew who Tom Brady was. And for that matter, Bill Belichick, not even close to held to the acclaim he's held to now. You said earlier, this year kind of showed it may have been more Brady. I think you're right. I'm mostly going to go with it just to try to be the other side guy, contrarian.
Play the devil's advocate.
But what if he instilled all those practice habits, all that preparation time, that whether he instilled it or not, he had it manifest. Yes, with Tom Brady. I mean, even some of Tom Brady's success, doesn't Belichick get some credit for it?
Yeah, he does get credit for it, just due to the fact that I don't think that Bill Belichick would be Bill Belichick without Tom Brady, and Tom Brady wouldn't be Tom Brady without Bill Belichick. I mean, it's the perfect stars aligning moment in sports, where if Tom Brady is on a different team or Bill Belichick is still with the Browns, none of this happens. Everything is completely reversed. Some of the teams that came up short, I mean, the Rams probably win a second or possibly even a third Super Bowl in that Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, Marshall Faulk era. Different things happen, and I think both of them, while, yes, now it looks like it might have been a little bit more Brady than Belichick, both of them should be very respectable in each other's minds, the fact that neither one of them would be where they are today without the other.
And that quarterback quarterback combo, you're forever linked with your victories. I mean, Lombardi with Starr, Landry with Staubach, Montana with Walsh, and really more Seifert with Steve Young, and even for defeated teams, Shula with Marino for defeated teams. But to the winner, it's always associated that way. It's hard to think of especially two-time winner that you don't give them credit. And now Andy Reid obviously linked with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, obviously will be linked for all time with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, going back to Andy Reid's previous stop. I mean, Donovan McNabb with Andy Reid probably isn't the same type of player. And going back to what you said, that with that Rams Super Bowl, that the Patriots were the plucky underdogs, and so many people probably were rooting for the Patriots, going, "Man, I'd just like to see them get one." You know, this is only their second Super Bowl appearance. They got blown out of the first one. Go, you pucky. Third.
It was their third. They'd gotten hammered by the Bears, hammered by the Packers.
That's it.
And in their third. And at that time, kind of losing town USA, except for the Celtics and a little bit the Bruins, but football had been a wasteland, and we know what baseball had been like up to that point.
Yeah, we really did. And to think that so many of us were happy for that day, thinking, good for you guys. The little man won one for once.
Yeah,
and
it cursed the Bambino.
It turned the tide pretty quickly.
Then they win everything. 67129 at our First Bank text line. Way back in the first hour, we were talking about Arkansas, and Arkansas State will finally play. And a texter texted in, Frank Broyles probably rolling over in his grave about this game. LOL. I don't think he ever wanted Arkansas and Arkansas State to play, but I'm glad it's happening, especially as a born and raised Arkansan and ASU alum. I think that's a sentiment a lot. No, Coach Broyles did not want this game. He hardly recognized Arkansas State's existence. In fact, when Keith Lee committed to sign with Arkansas State, he said, I don't care where he goes, but he's not going there. and he went to a lot of extraordinary lengths to make sure he didn't go to Arkansas State. And he ended up as the greatest Tiger basketball player ever. Well, at least the all-time leading scorer and all-time leading rebounder. And that makes you a pretty good – that stakes a pretty good
Puts you at one or two.
On greatest player ever, Keith Lee from West Memphis. But Coach Broyles was not letting him go to Arkansas State and build that program there. And we come back, we go to Radio Row. We go to Super Bowl 55 City down in Tampa, and we visit with Rick Horrow on the business of sport. That's next.
Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Zane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you.
Sunday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs square off in Super Bowl 55. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew for all the action. Will Bucs quarterback Tom Brady win an unprecedented 7th Super Bowl ring? Or will the Chiefs and QB Patrick Mahomes become the first team to win back-to-back titles since Brady and the Patriots 17 years ago? If it's Super Bowl 55, it's right here.
On Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Without more licensed workers, Gary's roofing business might hit its ceiling.
Hey, that new contract just got pushed up. We are gonna need all hands on deck to make this happen.
Hey, Gary, you booked me on that other job next week.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Protect my car. Restrictions may apply. Plans and costs for coverage may vary. Call for details.
These days, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a car, truck, or SUV made from 1999 or higher, you could stop paying for car repairs. That's right. You might not have to pay a penny to have it repaired. Just call 800-998-0633 now to see if you qualify. You must have an automobile made from 1999 or higher, and all repairs for your engine, transmission, and much more can become a thing of the past. Call 800-998-0633 today and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. That's right, total protection for your car and no more repair bills. Plus, call 800-998-0633 right now and get free roadside assistance, free towing, free car rental, and free oil changes. Call 800-998-0633 right now to see if your car qualifies. That's 800-998-0633. Never pay for car repairs again. Just call 800-998-0633. 800-998-0633.
Hey, I heard that you just got a new car.
Yes, I sure did, and I could not believe how simple it was.
Really? Tell me what happened.
I bought my car at Cars Inc. They are family owned, and the choices of cars were the best I've ever seen. They even said they could price match with anyone and help me with whatever financing I needed.
Wow, it does sound like they know what they are doing.
Their family has been in the car business for over 30 years, and they're excited about being in Memphis.
Where are they?
5095 Cummington Way, and their phone number is 901-623-7180.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Super Bowl 55 coming up on Sunday, and it should be a great game for sure. In Tampa, the hometown, hosting. It's a muted Super Bowl. It's a muted Radio Row, not as hopping as in years past, but always ever present at Radio Row. Our guest on Wednesday to talk the business of sports, our professor, Rick Harrow. He joins us now. And, Rick, I met you at Radio Row. Do they miss me? I know they don't miss you because you're there. Do they miss me? Anybody reaching out for me, wondering where I am?
They could care less whether you're there.
I was afraid of that, Rick.
They also could care less whether I'm there. I decided, I'm here. I'm at the stadium. I did some meetings today, but I decided not to go to Radio Row today because I am one Monday away from my vaccine, and I don't trust a whole lot of people who are kind of there for the first time and are there once a year. So I'm doing it I'm doing this in my room. But I should wait. This is radio, so you wouldn't know the difference. Yeah, I'm live at Radio Row. No,
very good. Not spirit of full disclosure. Rick came through for us. You know, Rick, through the years of Super Bowls, I always thought I needed to be vaccinated on Radio Row long before the pandemic from some of those people on it.
Yeah, but the vaccines that you would need to get to protect yourself from some of those people, you wouldn't have any room in your arm, man. I'm just telling you.
Thank you, Rick. Man,
right?
I just gave you the softball, and you crushed it right over Waveland Avenue.
You did. There's not a whole lot of snacking going on here this year. I know that. I haven't been in there, but I've been told by a lot of bitter people that the food is not that good. And of course, if you don't give food to media people, you're in trouble.
Food not even good. Do you remember that food they called food out at Phoenix?
Oh yeah, I know. Well, the best food, by the way, the best food of any game I've ever been to is right here in this city, but at a different game. You guys been to the Outback Bowl? Do you remember that?
I was just there. And this year was outstanding, even in a tamp down year.
Well, you can imagine when it's not a tamp-down year. I mean, they go all out. It's like the entire budget is spent on the blooming onions and all the other stuff they have at Outback. So, and of course, media people eat it up, both literally and figuratively.
Rick, before we get back to the Super Bowl and all the great things going on in Tampa right now, I do want to just bring this up because I saw this in the notes that you sent on Monday about the city of Baltimore and Maryland having a bid to host the 2026 World Cup. Do you think they have a realistic shot of getting it?
Well, let's remember that we've already got the World Cup as a combination of the U.S. and Canada and Mexico, 2022 Qatar, and then 2026 in the U.S. So what they're vying for are a number of games within the World Cup structure, not the opening and closing.
Okay.
Because, the Meadowlands will be there in SoFi Stadium and all of that. But their unique process, and M&T Bank Stadium is a first-class building in Baltimore, obviously, is to try to appeal to the FIFA folks and go right kind of above the U.S. heads and look at some of the soccer-rich countries. Now, when I did that thing, it's like a geography test, because a few of the people, I'm on Pharrell once a week, and he said, "What is Benin? Is it a disease?" I said, No, Scott, it's a country. It's a West African country. And so, like, come on, man. And so that's exactly why the Baltimore people are so smart, because they want to increase the visibility of some of the African nations who want some exposure, visibility, training, employment opportunities, and all that. It's kind of a cool thing. Do you guys know where Benin is?
I can't say I do.
Yeah, now you know it.
Benin, yes, it's in West Africa, isn't it?
Yeah, West Africa. Well, of course, now, because you've read it. No, it's West Africa. No, I mean, you know that. That's pretty darn good, man. You sound like you've been there. You're so familiar with it.
I have not been there. I have not. Yeah. Don't ask me the capital. It's not one of those countries where the capital is Benin as well, like Djibouti.
You never know. You never know, and I ain't telling you. Just look it up, man. It's a Google age. It's not going to take long. So.
You got it. Rick Aro on the Business Sport with us at Super Bowl 55. Tamp down's been the word for everything in sports. When do you think, Rick, just your best guess with baseball now saying they're going to go the full season, do you think by World Series, do you think we have packed stadiums and we're back living life again?
Do I look like Dr. Fauci? I mean, what the hell?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. There you go. I'd love to answer the question, and I'd love to answer with our hearts. I do know that a lot of the architectural firms are working overtime to make these stadiums a little safer than they used to be. And, for example, one of the things I wrote in the report is, the CARES Act, $6 million from Florida was allocated for touchless bathrooms and for a whole bunch of things in the stadium to make it safer. I think a combination of that plus masking, I think, is a lot more accepted. Frankly, it's a lot more accepted after January 20th than it was before, but that's another story. And I do think, the real answer to that question is dependent on these variants more than anything else. We're vaccinating, and, wouldn't you know it, that we're just ready to turn the corner, and here comes another runaway train.
Right. For the Super Bowl this week, people are predicting lesser TV rating, and we've seen the hit in ad sales, but Budweiser, they're not advertising this year. Some others aren't. Do you think by next year's Super Bowl we're back to full advertising and everybody that traditionally has been advertising gets back with the Super Bowl in the NFL next year?
Even more so. And the reason is because assuming the pandemic runs its course by the fall, let's say, and, you don't know. The Spanish flu was over in 2 years, killed a lot of people, but, this may be 3. I mean, how do we know? But assuming we're back to where we can recover, then there's a lot of recovering that includes activation and not just paying the $5.6 million for a 30-second spot, but actually going out, seeing signage. I've walked around. I'm staying downtown. I've got a high floor, and one of the things you normally see, even on the Wednesday before, is all of these signs and all the helicopters with all the trailers on all of the planes. None of that this year. And so, you got to spend the money for corporate entertainment, but you also have to spend it for the commercials and to activate for hospitality, and there is none this year. So, yeah, it'll come back, and it'll come back in abundance in Southern California next year because it's really the first Super Bowl in Southern California in a long time. And SoFi Stadium, which was dormant with no fans and a $5 billion showcase, I can't wait for that one next year. It's going to be great.
Rick, one thing that we do know, especially around here, and I'm guilty of it, FanDuel betting is kind of king, and it's something I check every single day. I check the lines, and we know betting is really big when it comes to Super Bowl weekend. Is there an estimate of how much Vegas or these online providers like FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM think that they'll get from Super Bowl weekend in revenue from online betting?
I saw $24 million a day, but that's not enough. That to me, that's not a lot, and it's frankly that's the day of last week, the week before the Super Bowl. My sense is it ramps up every day, and come Saturday and Sunday, the bets are going to be fast and furious, and I can't wait for the list of prop bets again. Those are always fun. You know, who wins how long the national anthem is going to be, and what stupid thing does Gronkowski do early in the game, and on and on and on. So I don't have the number yet, but I'll be looking for it next week to be sure. I will either have the number or I'll make it up.
I appreciate it.
Rick, how many Super Bowls for you, either in attendance at the game itself or Radio Row for you out of now 55? How many times have you been to the Super Bowl city that week?
So every time I've gone, I go to Radio Row, and then I don't leave early. So, you know, I want the whole experience because I'll go and mingle with the NFL guys and the owners and all of that. So I'm breaking my streak of 22 straight. And this year, I guess you can count half of it because I'm here. But I'm leaving Friday. I'm teaching my dog Duke, as you know, he's my celebrity, to fetch beer for me on Sunday. I'll watch commercials for the first time ever because you don't get to see them at the stadium. I'll have a tennis game at 11. I have a tennis game at 1. I'm inviting a couple of people over. They don't know it yet, but they're going to get an invoice at the door after they leave, and I'm going to make some money out of this.
That's the way to do it, Rick.
You'll probably charge them for rapid testing, for PER testing. Do you have a favorite one through all the ones you've been to, Rick? Your Dolphins, when they went undefeated, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, well, that one, as a fan, as a kid, you know, that was great. The wide right game here, which was the Gulf War. I mean, that Buffalo game. The other game here, the Santonio Holmes game, where they beat the Cardinals. Those are kind of co-favorites of mine. There have also been some really, really bad ones that you expected to be close. The Raiders, I thought the Eagles were going to be close in that one, and Kenny King ran roughshod over them. I'm just hoping, by the way, that the game is half as good as the hype. If it's even close, that now what is it? Brady is now in his 32nd Super Bowl. Is that right?
He's got close
to
it. It's at least that. It feels like it's at least that.
That's an unbelievable. So here's the other thought, and I don't know if you guys agree. This is a good subjectivity. You know, in baseball, you don't know who the GOAT is because there are a lot of people who can argue different things. Same thing in basketball. Is it Michael? Is it LeBron? And, you know, same thing in hockey. There is no doubt now in football. How can anybody argue anybody else other than Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time?
I'm not going to argue it at all. For a long time, I thought it was either Jim Brown or Jerry Rice, but now I think it's clearly Tom Brady. All right, Rick Horrow, we've asked every guest this week for a score and the winner. So give us that. Give us your winning team and your winning score.
Dolphins 21, Buccaneers 17.
No.
Oh, my God. All right. So Buccaneers are going to pull an incredible upset, 27-25. Kind of a weird score, but why not?
27-25. Rick, I like it. I like it a lot, and I like having you with us, and I'm sorry I didn't get to see you this week. And you are the marathon man at Super Bowls. You're at Radio Row each and every day, all day. You're at the parties at night, and I've seen you at the game on Sunday, and I appreciate you joining us every week. We'll talk about it next week when we have you back. Thank you, Rick.
Always, man. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Rick.
You got it. Rick Horrow from the NBC family of stations, professor at Harvard on the business of sport, and with us every week. And I first met Rick at the Super Bowl at Lee Steinberg, the super agent at his party. Rick's friends with him, and they both use the same media liaison. And Charles got us together, and we had Rick on, and he makes the rounds at Super Bowls, and it's a lot of fun. So I know different for him, different for everyone. He mentioned that Super Bowl, the wide right for Scott Norwood. That was 30 years ago this year. It was in Tampa, and that was one of the more famous Super Bowls because that was a good one. We had not had a good one in a long time. I know Buffalo Bills fans still despairing over the wide right. That was their best shot to win in that 4 straight with that team. That day, you think how much football and the country has changed since that day. That was with the backdrop of the Gulf War of President George H.W. Bush in January of 1991, troops in to liberate Kuwait from Saddam Hussein, and Whitney Houston with the stirring rendition of the national anthem, Star Spangled Banner, that day. And then the game itself. O.J. Anderson for the New York Giants was the MVP. He rushed for more yards that day, Drew. I want you to look it up in the break for me if you can.
Okay.
Guarantee you he rushed for more yards that day than these two teams will rush for combined. I know he carried it for more totes than these two teams will probably combine for because the Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick plan that day was play defense and run the ball, play defense and run the ball. And they did so well with Jeff Hostetler, a journeyman functionary at quarterback, just giving it to O.J. Anderson, and O.J. Anderson giving it to Buffalo all day long. You know that, and really probably the best work of the Parcells Super Bowl champions that year. The game's really changed. The country's really changed. You know that day. I'll say it. The idea of somebody taking the knee, you'd been run out of the country that day.
Yeah, the world and the country has changed quite a bit. Just on my initial Google search, first couple of things that are popping up, 21 attempts for 102 yards.
Okay, but less on both than I thought he had. I thought it was more totes than that and more yards. But still, it'll be close if those two teams get over 102 combined Sunday. They'll do that, though, won't they?
Yeah, I think they will. And for anybody who wants to sound impressive out there and wants to know the capital of Benin, it's Porto Novo. So now we know.
Well, of course it is.
Of course. I mean, we knew that. I didn't have to Google it.
I did not.
I mean, nobody come to this room and look at my computer right now, but I
did
knew
know
that.
I did know where Benin. Again, I will brag on this. I was a great geography student.
I was decent at the state geography. I could name all 50 states at a pretty young age and could point them out on a map, I think, in like first or second grade, but world geography, not my special.
In fact, fall of 1983 took human geography in what is now the legendary, remodeled, stately, on-campus hotel at Fayetteville, the Inn at Carnal Hall. Well, it was simply Carnal Hall. It was a classroom building, and it's right on the Drew. It's catty corner from your brothers at Sigma Chi. I mean,
Okay, I know exactly where it is because I've been to the Sigma Chi house in Fayetteville.
Yeah, you could throw a football from the lobby of either place and hit the other one across Maple, catty corner to Arkansas Avenue. I took human geography in the fall of 1983 there.
That is pretty impressive, and that's Sigma Chi house. I don't know how you actually did graduate. If I went to Arkansas,
fun times there.
I would have flunked out for sure.
Fun times. I ate lunch most Fridays there because they served cheeseburgers, and at my fraternity house with the large contingent of Catholic boys, it was fish every Friday. And after about a year and a half, 2 years, I said, man, I got to get a break from the fish on Friday. I said, I respect the good Catholic boys and all that good stuff. And a friend of mine was a Sigma Chi and said, come over to our house and eat the cheeseburgers. And I started there, and they were great. And their cook, a great guy named JoJo, he would stir up the cheeseburgers on Friday. So I spent a lot of time at that lodge across catty corner from the Inn at Carnal Hall. When we come back, we round out hour number 2. I may tell you more Fayetteville stories when we return on Sports Time.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
You're scrambling around. You need a haircut. Where you gonna go? I got a place that has 15 locations. I've got a place where details matter. I've got a place that can be invigorating and relaxing at the same time. You know what it is. It's Supercuts. Every haircut ends with the signature hot towel finish. Every haircut matters. When you're getting ready, you go into Supercuts. The stylist will pay attention to every detail. So you get the haircut you want, and, of course, you're going to finish with that signature hot towel. You walk out clean, sharp, and not just ready, but super ready. And you might want to ask that hairstylist about what the tea tree experience is. One part invigorating, one part relaxing. The tea tree experience is something you need to try. 15 locations. I mentioned that, didn't I? All you've got to do is go to supercuts.com. You'll find the one nearest to you. Get super ready at Supercuts.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
My name's Barry. I live right above you. I don't host parties. I host after parties. They're like parties, only louder and nobody goes home. You can see right here I ripped out all the carpeting because it was holding me back with my pogo stick. Man's got a pogo. Oh, I'm a prankster. I'll grease up a soda can and then when somebody grabs it, boom!
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor, but we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Super Bowl 55. You can hear all the action right here with kickoff around 5:30. It's brought to you. It'll be brought to you by David Nanny CPA. If it's Super Bowl time, big game time on Sunday, it's tax season time. Let David help you out. His team's helped me out. They can help you out with all your tax filing needs. David's a good friend of ours at Sports 56. He usually is a big part of our big game coverage along Radio Row. This year, a big part with bringing you the coverage Sunday afternoon of all the action from Westwood 1. Give David a call at 763-2 2000, 901-763-2000. He's been helping people for their tax needs for 15 years. He can help you out as well. Drew, I was talking about that game 30 years ago, and the obvious radical change over those years of a lot of things, but on the field of play for sure. That day, mentioned Jeff Hostetler starting. They didn't want him throwing many passes, but he was good when he had to that day. But it was run, as O.J. Anderson was MVP with the 21 carries you mentioned, but 39 carries for the Giants. A couple carries for Jeff Hostetler, six rushes, and John Harden with the good catch of it. Dave Meggett, 9 carries to contribute. So Maurice Carthon, who played college football at Arkansas State, from Osceola with 3 carries. They wanted to keep it low to the ground that day. That was the only way they could stay in it with the then, high-flying Buffalo Bills team with Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, James Lofton. That was some firepower.
Yeah, and just from looking at the box score, Thurman Thomas, had himself a very impressive day in the backfield, 15 carries for 135 yards. So it looks like rushing the ball was a big part of both teams' plan.
There was a case to be made that he could have joined Chuck Howley that day as MVP in defeat, but nobody's going to do that anymore. You're just not hardly going to do it. You got to go back to 1983 at the Final Four for that. You got to go back to 1960 for a defeated team to be the MVP of a World Series. I think you got to go back to Jerry West in the late 60s, early 70s in the NBA. Voters just aren't, if there are voters, just aren't going to reward the defeated team, and that's why I don't think there are voters, because they don't want that, and I think the league just picks who they want. That's
I don't really think it's that big of a conspiracy, because if you lose the game, you weren't the most valuable player in the game.
Well, how valuable were you?
Exactly. They could have lost without you. It's just like somebody winning the Heisman on a 2-10 team. They could have gone 2-10 without you, probably. Just realistically. And the winning team should have the most valuable player on it, just due to the fact that they won the game. It's that simple.
And we know it will mostly be quarterbacks. Look, I don't know that Eli Manning deserved to be MVP for one or both of those times the Giants won it. He did make clutch throws, but there was a lot of defense played in those games as well. But we know with the spotlight on that position, you step up, you deliver, you're pretty flawless, you're going to get rewarded with MVP, and you're going to get the car that goes with it, and they're going to keep it for the rest of their lives. That's just how it is. When we come back for the third and final hour, we will talk a lot of college basketball. We will do that starting off with Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. That kicks off hour number 3 for this Wednesday afternoon. Next.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't. And thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
It's that time of year again. Time for the big game and time for taxes. David Nanny, CPA, can help you with both. He's sponsoring this year's big game coverage on Sports 56, and David and his team have all the experience you need for all your tax filing needs, too. Whether it's a return for an individual or for a small business, give him a call today. 901-763-2000. That's 901-763-2000. David Nanny, CPA for you.
Head on over to Frontier Western Store for their famous February sale. This is Frontier's biggest sale of the year, and it's time to save big on boots and apparel. All men's jeans are now on sale. Wrangler Carhartt pants, $5 off. Area denim is also $5 off. There are huge savings on Carhartt shirts as well. Select clearance shirts and outerwear up to 50% off. Area shirts and jackets discounted as well. Hurry in for the best selection. All novelty shirts, including Simply Southern, Girly Girl, and Puppy Love, are buy one, get one half price. Men's t-shirts by Live Oak and A-Boat, also included in this sale. Frontier has markdowns in the boot room as well. Hundreds of boots by Double H, Rocky, Durango, and Ariat, now priced to move to make room for new spring arrivals. Stop by Frontier today and grab your next pair of dress or work boots. It's the famous February sale at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave is out today. He's doing the Tigers game tonight at FedEx Forum on TV on ESPN Plus with John Albright. He'll be back with us tomorrow after calling the Tigers in Central Florida action tonight. It sounds familiar because it is. They played on Monday night. It was a rout then. We'll see what it is tonight. We visit with Mike DeCourcy, the Hall of Fame college basketball writer from the Sporting News, after I tell you about DeSoto Auto Sales, the title sponsor of this hour. Go down to Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road to be exact, to DeSoto Auto Sales. They're very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. 662-890-7184. Visit their website and check out all the happy referrals and look at all the beautiful cars at DeSotoAutosales.com. Every make, every model, every car you can think of. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales. They'll treat you like family by kind, courteous employees with laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. They do care about your time and want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why you find the car you want, test drive it, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less, in time to do it over your lunch hour, or like right now, in time to do it and get home in time to watch the Tigers play tonight at DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know and love at DeSoto Auto Sales. College basketball front and center with Mike DeCourcy every week at this time, the Hall of Fame writer from the Sporting News. And, Mike, I warned earlier with Drew, I said, I've known Mike through the years, and I know one thing he can't stand until right around Valentine's is bubble talk. Should I dare go there with you today, Mike DeCourcy?
Look, there are, including mine for Fox Sports, there are many projected brackets out there, and somebody is barely in, and somebody is almost in, and someone is knocking on the door behind them. But the difference between that and the bubble is the element of pressure that's introduced when you get to Valentine's Day-ish, around there, and all of a sudden you look up at the calendar and, okay, we're not in yet. We're not comfortable. Everybody's projecting us as a 12 seed, and we only got 5, 6 games left. And we've pretty much declared that we're not winning a lot of those unless we change something. And that's when you feel it. That's when it really starts to percolate. And so that's why I say, if you really want to talk about the bubble, what it is and how it works and all that, it really begins around Valentine's Day, when you basically have about 3 weeks left in the regular season plus the conference tournaments.
And Mike, there are a lot of teams that are going to be firmly planning on it. We're going to talk whether it's a soft bubble or an expansive bubble. Whatever we're talking about, I still think it is commendable for college basketball to be to February 3rd, to get, and they're going to get to Valentine's. We're going to have that bubble conversation. We're going to have a tournament. It's been an extraordinary job turned in, and it has not been easy.
No, it has not. And it's funny how many times in appearing on various venues and podcasts and interviews on other radio stations, and how many people, are we going to have March Madness, is a question I get asked a lot. And I'm like, hey, wait a second, man, look around. Like, we are having a Super Bowl in 4 days. We had a World Series. We had MLS Cup. We had the college football playoff championship. No one else quit or gave up or just said, nah, we can't, it's too much for us, we're giving up. So why would college basketball do that? I don't see any reason why the sport would not be able to do what the others have done. It has had challenges that the others have not had. It has met them and conquered most of them, and it will continue. And that's one of the reasons why a week ago, really right after I spoke to you guys last, I got a text from one of the people I know in the business who texted me the official NCAA COVID protocols for everybody that would be participating in the tournament. I don't know if they sent that to 350 schools or whether they just sent it to people with a chance. It doesn't cost as much these days because you just email or text a PDF. You don't have to print it all out. But the protocols are very severe. And some people reacted to my article like, look at the draconian NCAA doing this again. And I'm like, no, hold on a second here. The NCAA is being severe in this regard for one reason and one reason only, and that is they are bringing, ideally, 68 teams to Indianapolis, and they want all 68 of those teams to participate until they are eliminated by the result of a basketball game and for no other reason. And so they don't want you to not follow their protocols. Come to Indianapolis, take your next COVID test positive, and then all of a sudden everybody's got to turn around and go home, and number 69 it gets on the phone and all of a sudden has to get to Indy. They don't want that, so they are trying to assure that everybody who comes is tested clean before they come, tested clean when they arrive, stays clean, and I'm only using the word clean because they're just negative maybe is a better word maybe, but in any case that you do not encounter the virus in those circumstances, so that when you go home from Indy, you go home either with the trophy or for the other 67 teams because they just lost a basketball game.
Yeah, Mike, I'm with you. I hope that it goes off without a hitch. I hope everybody's negative and stays clean. But while the test, you can test as much as you possibly want, as much as you want. It only takes, maybe one delivery guy that's got the snuffles that is positive, but only not really showing symptoms to come in and blow the whole bubble up. Let's say a team in the middle of a tournament has to leave after winning. What would happen to that slot in the bracket? Let's say we're going into the Sweet 16 and Gonzaga, just to throw out a name, test is positive. Who gets to fill that spot? Who fills that spot?
I don't think they want to be jinxed like that, Drew. But honestly, once the tournament begins, I think they're pretty hopeful that once they get those 68 teams on the floor, that they have the environment in a position where the likelihood of anyone contracting the virus once the tournament begins is low. They're designing it. They're being very careful to design it so that it probably won't be as secure as the NHL bubble was in Canada or the NBA bubble was in Orlando. But they believe, and again, they're not even calling it a bubble because in reality, I mean, they're putting people on buses to go various places, whether it's down the road, because you can't. The hotels are close to the arenas, but I don't think they're going to have anybody walk from the JW Marriott down to Bankers Life. If you're going to Hinkle or to the State Fair Coliseum, you have to get on a bus. So it's not a true bubble in that sense, but it's going to be pretty secure. I think they feel pretty good that that's not going to happen. But if it does, once they start moving teams along the bracket, and the scenario you described, Drew, that would basically become, and if they can't delay it by a day or so, they would have to just move along, and whoever was scheduled to play that particular team is going to have to advance. So that,
and you know what that's going to ensue?
No,
asterisk talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously they don't want that to happen, and I think they feel pretty confident that they can pull that off. I mean, just about everybody was able to in their various sports be able to pull that off. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, hey, teams got buys before in this thing. I mean, no one's throwing asterisks at UCLA, for goodness sakes. They had buys when they won probably 6 of their 10 or 7 of their 10. They had buys at various points. So, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that if that develops. Now, maybe if you had 3 of them, that would be a different deal. But if it's just one, that's just the breaks. Obviously, when I say that, I'm saying that strictly from a basketball standpoint. I'm not dismissing the severity or the my concern about anybody that would test positive for COVID. I certainly am not that cavalier about it. I take it very seriously.
Mike, in your bracketology for Fox College basketball, for all the bracketology out there, you can name one. You can name our friend Shelby Mass with USA Today. You can name Joe Lenard at ESPN. I like them all. I read them all. I like to digest it all. We see the teams at the top. We see the Big Ten. They're going to gobble up a lot of bids. Some may think disproportionately, but I think it's pretty right on. And then you get to the Big 12, ACC, SEC. I'm trying to get down there at 2 or 3 bid leagues. Which ones right now may be around 2 or 3 that could go up or could go down?
Mountain West has gone in my bracket from probably there were times when there were 2 to as many as 4. They've got 4 teams that are in contention, and I believe last week I had all 4 in. I think Utah State squeezed in. I have had Colorado State in, Boise State's been firmly in, and San Diego State, which is fairly firmly in. Those are the 4, and it could go either way. And the Mountain West is doing some interesting things with their scheduling. They are one of the leagues that is playing 2-game series. So that last weekend, for instance, Colorado State and Boise State played in Fort Collins, Colorado, and they played 2 games in 3 days. I think it was a Wednesday and a Friday, if I remember right. And they played, and now Colorado State will not go to Boise. There won't be a home and home. They've done that to alleviate travel concerns and mitigate that some. And so to this point, it's worked fairly well for them. They haven't had many problems. They haven't had a lot of shutdowns, and they also have been able to produce 3 or 4 pretty good teams. So that you've got the Atlantic 10. It's been bouncing around 2 bids or so, with St. Louis as one, St. Bonaventure as another. The 2 teams in Richmond and VCU, both are in the ballpark. I have not had them in lately. Others have had either or both, and so that there are probably those are the ones. American, I just don't see a second team right now other than the Cougars from Houston. No one else is stepping forward. I felt like the Tigers might be on the way. When we talked last week, that was right before the SMU game. I thought if they won the SMU game, they were going to be in a very good position to move forward. And that was, that game set them back. and I don't know whether there's enough good wins out there for them to get back into it. Those are the leagues I think that would probably fit the description. And, of course, the West Coast Conference with Gonzaga for sure, and BYU has been hanging around the 8, 9, 10 neighborhood for most of the season. We'll see if they can climb above that or hang on to a spot because they still have to play the Zags, and that's a great opportunity, but also a great opportunity to get your tail kicked.
Yeah, it is, Mike. And going back to the Tigers, the only way, I guess, to kind of expand on what you just said, the only way for the Tigers to realistically have a shot in at-large at this point is to win out and split with Houston. Is that basically what you're saying? Or do they have to 100% win out and upset Houston twice, both on the road and at home?
You know, I don't think the one Houston win by itself would necessarily be enough when I look at what they've accomplished to this point in the season, and what's more so maybe even what's available for them to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's where the Tigers run into trouble, is that the high-quality wins for them, other than the Houstons, are not available. They're not on the schedule. Right now they have 3 Quad 2 victories. They were 0-2 to this point against Quad 1. There are a lot of teams in that ballpark, and what distinguishes the Tigers, what win says wow, and that's what's missing right now. And it's not necessarily Memphis' fault that for instance, Cincinnati doesn't mean much this particular season. They have 2 games against them for the last decade. That's been a huge game and a great win if you get it. And this particular Cincinnati team has not been successful, and it's also struggled to get on the floor. Wichita State is right now, when originally when the Tigers played them, they were basically a Quad 1 type team, and they've slipped a lot. And now even playing them on the road is not a Quad 1 opportunity. You've got 2 Quad 1s, and that's Cougars at home, Cougars on the road, and that's it that's out there. And everything else is probably Quad 3 or the 1 Quad 2, the game at Wichita.
Mike, do you think there's a SEC team, or give me the one you think's got the best chance, if there's one, to go to a Final Four, to be there in Indianapolis when it's just that team and 3 others left?
Well, I think it obviously depends on which bracket you get into. I mean, every coach that's getting into this thing is going to have 2 things in mind. Don't put me in Gonzaga's bracket. Don't put me in Baylor's bracket. If I'm in any other bracket, I feel like I can make it. And I'm talking about the ones that can really play, the ones that would be anywhere probably in the, basically among the top 30 teams. They're thinking, if I'm in anybody else's bracket, I can get there. If I'm in that one, it's going to be tough. Because those teams have clearly separated themselves from the rest of the country. Michigan, as good as they are, and I really like them, having a pause hasn't helped. I don't know that they're quite as adept as those 2 are. They're very, very good, but I just think that Gonzaga and Baylor are at another level, and so no one's going to want to be in that. But if you're Alabama and you don't get stuck in that region, I think you can beat pretty much everybody. You have to shoot the basketball well, but that has become the norm for them. They don't reach it every game. They didn't last weekend on Saturday in the Big 12 Challenge. They were not good that day, but they've been terrific just about every other night of late. And I certainly think they have the ability. I do not know what to make of Tennessee right now. I
don't either.
Yeah, I mean, I know what I've always felt was slightly missing. I don't love the point guard position there. I don't think that it's dynamic. I don't think that a lot gets created, and so I think their offense bogs down. And that may have been a problem last night. But I've also seen them on days where they struggle to defend as well. Not many, and so maybe that was the fluke. And the real problem remains the fact that they just aren't a dynamic offense, and they aren't a particularly cohesive offense. One that what's going to happen on particular possessions because this works for them most of the time. This particular action or this particular player provides certain things. I don't think they get that, and that may be why it's problematic. But because they're so good defensively, and because they've got very good players like Yves Pons, and some good young players like Josiah Jordan-James, who's had big days, they still are capable, again, if they're not in with those other two, of maybe squeezing by this game, that game, the other game. I wouldn't put it past them. They've played enough quality games that you could see them putting 3-4 games together.
Yeah, breaking into the top 25 this week, Drake Bulldogs, I think a good story, especially when it comes to gambling. They've won and covered 16 of their 17 games, but they're now number 25, undefeated. How realistic is a long tournament run for the Drake Bulldogs?
It's hard for me to say that for a couple of reasons. One, they haven't played the best other team in their league yet. They have not played Loyola of Chicago, the Loyola Ramblers. And so how good they are, I think a lot of it will be decided by when they have I believe they have 2 games scheduled against Loyola, and when those games happen, I think we're going to have a better feel. They are another league that has played a lot of these 2-game series, and they will play 2 games in Des Moines, so they will both be home games for that Loyola. That's the day before Valentine's Day and on Valentine's Day. So Loyola's desire to be on the bubble, so to speak, will be decided that weekend. I think I've gotten a lot of stuff from their fans about how come we're not in your bracket yet, and for me it comes down to the same thing as it does for what you're asking me about Drake is. There are good quality teams in that league, but there's 2 really special teams, and they haven't met yet. And when they do, we'll know who to take seriously. Maybe both of them. One is a automatic and one is an at-large, but we'll have a better handle on the quality that they both possess when they play one another the 13th and the 14th of this month.
Mike, I had to give Drew a tutorial earlier in the week on Willie McCarter and Drake and their run they went on in the 69 tournament, winning the 3rd place game over North Carolina with Charlie Scott and scaring the you-know-what out of John Wooden and UCLA in the semifinals that year with Lou Alcindor.
Which why y'all ever did a 3rd place game just blows my mind. Whoever thought that was a good idea, I don't know.
Drew, we used to do consolation games in the regionals.
Drew, you're not familiar with wrestling enough. I mean, they will wrestle for 175th place. I mean, it's amazing to me. When I used to cover high schools way back in the day, I went to the one year I had to cover the Pennsylvania State Wrestling Tournament, and it's like, okay, this guy's going to win. That's cool. I mean, high school wrestling is a cool deal. But okay, they're wrestling off for 7th place. I'm like, really? They we care? Apparently they do. That's so when it comes. So the fact that the basketball for a long time had a consolation game, man, wrestling still hasn't caught up to that.
Yeah, that is true. Mike DeCourcy, thank you for your time. Enjoy the weekend ahead, and boy, it is a rock fight every night in that Big Ten, and we will visit with you again next week.
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Real quick, Mike. We got to get your Super Bowl prediction.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah. Thank you, Drew. We got to get your Super Bowl prediction. Thank you, Drew.
Yes, I picked the Chiefs, and if I remember correctly, we did a file for most of the people who cover football for the NFL football for Sporting News, and I believe that I had Chiefs 33, Bucks 24. I believe that was the number.
33-24. We got you down with Kansas City. Thank you, Mike. We'll visit next week.
All right, Stats. Thanks, Drew.
Thanks, Mike.
You got Mike DeCourcy, the Hall of Fame college basketball writer, with us every week, and it's brought to you by the Memphis Tourism and Sports Council. Memphis with the fast-paced, exciting sports scene that we're going to get back to, and we're going to do it sooner rather than later, whether it's professional, semi-pro, amateur, youth, or college sporting events. Memphis checks all the boxes for sports fans. Each year, Memphis Tourism and the Memphis Sports Council. They work to recruit sporting events and tournaments that fill local hotels. And you think they've done great work in the past, and they have. It's going to be double effort to get anything in here to get people back downtown, back in Shelby County, back in Memphis, in our restaurants and our attractions with all the out-of-town athletes, their parents, their family, their friends to come see them compete. Numbers have shown through the years that in a single year, sporting events booked by Memphis Sports Council generated 76,000 hotel room nights and an estimated economic impact of $75 million. We want to top both of those when we get back, and we're going to do it again sooner rather than later. Memphis Tourism and the Memphis Sports Council, that's a winning combination. They help bring you Mike DeCourcy every week. Drew, even crazier than that third-place game on Monday afternoon, and at that time of the year for Drake to beat North Carolina, it was a Sunday. I think the Final Four went Friday, Sunday, then changed to a Saturday, Monday deal in 73 with the Tigers. And there was a consolation game preceding Tigers and UCLA that year. That was Indiana and Providence. In that game that year, they played consolation games in regionals, even into 73 after the Tigers beat Kevin Joyce and Brian Winters and Alex English and Mike Dunleavy in Houston. South Carolina, I think, had to play Bo Lamar in Southwest Louisiana and those guys in a consolation game in the bracket, in the regional. It was dumb. We did a lot of dumb things.
I've said it to you multiple times. Y'all are making stuff up as you went. You really were, and I don't get it. I don't really – those couldn't have been entertaining games to watch. You cannot tell me, oh, Drew, you don't understand. 1965, there was a 10th place game going on in the South region, and boy almighty, it was triple overtime. One of the greatest college basketball games I ever saw. You can't make me believe it.
The consolation game was ended after the 81 tournament. Dale Brown went on a tour de force, kill the consolation game. After he made the great point, he goes, I just had the year of years for LSU basketball. I had a great team, and we finished our season on a 2-game losing streak. Are you kidding me? And that was the afternoon. President Reagan was shot that afternoon, assassination attempt on his life that day in Washington. Almost around the time the consolation game was supposed to start, Dale Brown was trying to get it canceled that day because he didn't want to play in the game, win or lose. Yeah. They played it, and then the next year they had eliminated it, and that's when the tournament, the Final Four and the finals, switched from NBC to CBS, and with all the push by Dale Brown and by others to end it, and CBS said, we don't want any chance at all in that game running in to our broadcast window or even the court usage window for the finals, so it was eliminated. So many Razorback fans, guarantee you before I finish these comments, we'll get an Arkansas fan to text that they played in the last consolation game ever in St. Louis in 78. They didn't. They've convinced themselves of that. It was played in 79, 80, and 81. After that, I've won innumerable bets on that. They're convinced they played Notre Dame in the last consolation game ever in St. Louis that year. They did not, but Ron Brewer, Ronnie Brewer's dad, hit a last-second jumper for Arkansas to win that game, and people were very interested. And a friend of mine on that team, Jimmy Counts from Memphis, suffered a collapsed lung from a cheap shot elbow from Bill Lanebeer in that game. So some of those games were remembered fondly.
But do you hang up a third-place banner? I mean, you hang up Final Four, but, I mean, do you hang up 5th place? Do you hang up 7th? I mean, where does the number stop? I mean, then again, we hang up Sweet 16s and round to 32 and
some
16.
hang up NIT appearances.
And the University of Memphis does. I'll see plenty of them down at FedEx Forum
Ole Miss
tonight.
does as well. I don't think anybody should hang NIT up, even if you win it.
After I said it, then I started to remember, well, yeah, dummy, they hang up ones for 16. Of course, they probably hang up one for 3.
One of the more controversial third-place games, UCLA just won it year after year after year after year, and they lose in the semis to NC State in 74 in Greensboro to David Thompson, and to the media post-game, somebody asked Bill Walton, said, well, what about the consolation game on Monday night? He said, I'm not playing any consolation game. You can forget it. I'm out of here. Well, on Monday he played, and they asked John Wooden what he thought about it. He said, well, William was very misguided. He's going to play in that game on Monday night.
That's great.
And he played in that game on Monday night as NC State was defeating Marquette for the national championship, and UCLA did defeat Syracuse in the third-place game. When we come back, we talk all Tigers in Central Florida. That game's tonight at FedEx Forum. That conversation is next on Sportstime.
Big game coverage all week. Brought to you by David Nanny, CPA. Right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you. Do not wait for summer. Get your pool now during the early bird pool sale at Family Leisure through February the 7th. You can reserve your installation spot on your new pool purchase from Family Leisure. You know the prices like the temperature. They'll go up when it gets warmer, so you must reserve yours now. Family Leisure has hundreds of spas on order, so reserve yours now. The early bird pool sale's happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, golf, or real estate, having the winning coach makes all the difference in your success. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and I'm with Coach Terry Tippett, winner of 6 state basketball championships. Coach, what's been the secret to your and your team's successes?
Sheldon, there's no one secret. It becomes a pattern of success after coaching for so many years and learning the ins and outs of the game and the players. A lot like the pattern of your success in selling homes.
Thanks, Coach. Like you and your program, I developed my highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option, and I also tried to use it in my golf game.
Sheldon, tried is the optimum word. You better stick to selling homes, as you're always hitting holes in one at that, instead of double bogeys.
Thanks a lot. And if anyone is thinking of selling their home, make sure and talk to 2 to 3 coaches. I mean real estate brokers. Let me be one of them. You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com and be a winner.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer's specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Sunday, it's Super Bowl 55 as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Kevin Harlan. Join me, Kurt Warner, and the rest of our Westwood One crew. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are looking for back-to-back titles. Tom Brady, in his record 10th Super Bowl, leads the Buccaneers. If it's Super Bowl 55, it's right here
on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1, and the new FM 98.5.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave back with us tomorrow after the game tonight. Look, everybody's expecting a win. I don't know if people are expecting a blowout to the proportion of Monday night. There were a lot of things on Monday night. It was probably the high end of the year for the Tigers. Maybe not the win of the year, but some of the better qualities of the year went into Monday night's blowout. But I think everybody's expecting to win tonight, and I expect that tonight, and I expect it on Saturday. And as the Tigers' schedule proceeds until that Houston game, I love your question, Drew. Great question to Mike about will the Tigers need to win both of those, because that's a tall task for anyone out there in college basketball. Who would you say, Gonzaga included? You got to go to Fertitta and beat them, and you got to beat them when they come to your place.
I think Gonzaga and Butler, or not Gonzaga and Baylor, sorry, head and shoulders just are that good.
I don't think they both could do it, though.
You don't?
I don't think they both could sweep Houston, no. I like Houston. I think Houston's got much more than a puncher's chance. You know, the other day I said my Final Four right now, everybody's got Gonzaga, Baylor. My third, Villanova. Most have that. Yep. Most have Villanova. My fourth right now, it's Kelvin Sampson's Cougs. And my one of my New Year's predictions, we didn't do them like we normally do, but because of how the calendar broke and vacation time and you know everything.
Kind of hard to do predictions in a pandemic.
Yeah, and everything's just so COVID dominated. Even with the wild, crazy predictions, one of the constants when we do predictions around the new year is here locally. We always say Tiger's coming. He's never been here.
That is true, but I mean it could be this year. We don't know.
Hope so. I don't know if he'll even be qualified. I don't think he's qualified for that first World Golf event here in a few weeks.
Do WGCs allow invites?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's like an invitational. I don't think. I think there's a formula. I don't think just for old time's sake they could go out and invite Lee Trevino or anybody.
John Daly's not walking on the course.
No, I don't think they can. But also in predictions, but this year I said Phi Slamma Jamma finally back to a Final Four, first time since 1984. Want to thank the very nice caller during the last break. Then when I was talking about Jimmy Counts, and he was telling Drew about how I could remember it, and I think mostly had it nailed. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I got to know Jimmy Counts pretty well when he was an assistant coach for Eddie Sutton, and then he went on to medical school and now is a foremost either heart or brain surgeon, which has always inspired one of the great stories by Scott Hastings, his teammate. Scott Hastings, a lot of people now know, doing Denver Nuggets games, and I'll really miss not seeing Scott when he comes through this year because it's always fun to catch up with him on that night. But one night at a testimonial dinner, roast and toast, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was something for Coach Sutton. Scott Hastings got up to talk, and he was telling stories, and he told the story of Jimmy Counts was there to play defense, and that's it. At White Station High School, he was a celebrated high school scorer on a really good team with Buster Hancock, and that's how Eddie Sutton found Jimmy Counts. He was recruiting Buster Hancock. Had no shot at him. He was going to the Tigers, and he did, and he was a great high school player. But Jimmy could score in high school, but when he got to college with Ron Brewer, Marvin Delph, and Sidney Moncrief, his job was to play defense and pass the ball and set screens. And Scott Hastings got up there one night, and after a few drinks, Scott Hastings really got into it. He said, let me get this straight. So a guy that is now, I don't know which one it is, I'm going to use one. He said, so a guy that is now a brain surgeon, Coach Sutton told us to never pass him the ball because he's got the worst hands on the team.
That is a great story. Somebody who's a surgeon has to have steady and great hands is somebody that was once looked at as having the worst hands on the team. That is definitely pretty comical, if you ask me.
But the Counts family, legendary. His dad, Mr. Bill Counts, was a very noted engineer around town, and Jimmy off the charts, brilliant. And another good story about him, Dr. Jimmy Counts' wife, her sister is Jean Jones, Jerry Jones's wife. So by marriage, he's bro-in-law with Jerry Wayne, so he always has good cowboy tickets.
I bet he does.
He does. Tigers tonight, Johnny Dawkins against Penny Hardaway, and it was a mismatch of epic proportions on Monday night. It's the same one tonight. Central Florida, like a lot of teams, Drew, they're trying to get to the finish line.
They really are. I mean, it's if you lose and you said I don't think a lot of Tiger fans are expecting a blowout. I kind of am. I'm expecting a repeat of what we saw on Monday night. I know it's hard to beat teams back-to-back nights. Heck, I've won a lot of money on the FanDuel betting on the team that lost the night before to win this.
Hockey.
And the hockey, yes. I sent you that 5-team parlay that I won on last night in the hockey because let's face it,
knowing somebody won a 5-teamer in anything.
I am I respect Dave in his youth hockey experience where you can't even check.
Don't.
But that proved last night, my 5-team hockey play proves that I am the foremost hockey expert of the South.
So you like the back-to-backs, but tonight's another big number in the college version. Well, it is back-to-backs, not back-to-back days, but back-to-back games. And the Tigers, I don't know if they can play as well as they did Monday night, but I tell you what I liked. The guy that only had 9 on Monday, he was one of the few that didn't get into double digits. Mm-hmm. Maybe, and we've been hoping, begging, praying, pleading, beseeching, wondering when's it gonna happen for DJ Jeffries. If that's the impetus for it, if he goes on and down the stretch he plays well with others playing like they mostly have played, there have been some consistent parts of it. This year can end pretty well. I don't know that it's going to end in the NCAA tournament because to beat Houston even once will be very difficult.
Yeah, it's a tall task to ask anybody at this point of the season. But you're exactly right. If DJ Jeffries can give you something more, and I like what he did on Monday. I mean, 7 rebounds, had a steal. 3 of 10, not the best shooting, only shooting about 30% clip, but did knock down 2 big threes, build that confidence back up. And
watch that ball go through the net.
Just watching that ball go through the net. And, I had a caller on Monday or yesterday bring up the fact that one thing is with the psyche that he doesn't think that we're putting enough emphasis on is the injury last year, that maybe he is worried about getting another knee injury and possibly that being it. It could be that's what's really the psyche, not the lack of seeing the ball going in, but of being cautious about that leg.
Yeah, because you hear it from everybody with those. Once you've had that injury, it's always there, and it really takes about a year to really cut loose and kind of get free of it. But the Tigers tonight against Central Florida and Saturday against East Carolina, those will be wins, and then it gets more stringent. Not necessarily with Cincinnati next Thursday night, a week from tomorrow night, but at Houston on Sunday the 14th and at Wichita State on February 18th. Then you're almost to the end of the year. Then Temple and Tulane at home, at Cincinnati, at USF, and then the end of the year, last game of the year on national TV, 11 o'clock Sunday morning against Houston. And that feels like that will be Jim Nantz, CBS A team here as they start having to prepare and get ready for NCAA tournament, both production-wise and on-air-wise, after Nantz has done the NFL thing and done the Super Bowl this week with Tony Romo. He's got to get ready for the tournament too.
Yeah, he does. And one thing I'd be interested to ask Mike next week, we talked about the Tigers being an at-large team, probably would have to beat Houston back-to-back times to be considered at-large. Does that also bring in the fact of early conference tournament exit? Does that factor in making it to the semis? Does it factor in losing the finals? I mean, let's say the Tigers do end up
make a run.
Do end up splitting with Houston, but they make it to Sunday of the conference tournament, fall again to Houston more than likely. Does that give you enough, especially probably being going to be on national television 2 Sundays in a row, like you just said, CBS on the 7th, and then on national television the next Sunday. So you're going to be in front of the selection committee's eyes.
That it can't hurt, and that was ugly last night for Tennessee and the loss at Ole Miss, but great for Ole Miss to get that win, 52-50. Boy, that was a rock fight for sure. Georgia 91-86 over Auburn at Auburn, and Arkansas 61-45 over Mississippi State. I don't know what was uglier offensively, Mississippi State or what both Tennessee and Ole Miss were throwing up last night. But the Rebels got the win. That was a good win for them. Tonight in the SEC, South Carolina already leads by 10 over Florida. That's in Gainesville. LSU at Bama, Kentucky at Mizzou, and Vandy and A&M, as we announced and were told yesterday, it's been postponed. In the AAC, they had an early afternoon game today. Also, right now, Houston only leads East Carolina by 3 with about a minute to play in the first half.
Who thought East Carolina could score 34 points? That is very shocking.
I didn't. Against anybody, but especially against that defense.
I mean, heck, we just saw a week and a half ago the Tigers hold East Carolina to 18 points in the first half, and now here they are with about a minute left to go in the game, scoring 34, down 6 now, 40-34.
Look, if you're wondering about something for dinner, make it Jason's Deli. Any of these locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova on a cold afternoon like this, stop in and get for the whole family. Get the chili, the Texas-style chili. That's no beans. If you'd like the Southwest chicken chili, that has beans in it. The tomato basil, the fire-roasted tortilla, the chicken noodle. Keep it simple with the chicken noodle. You'll love it. The broccoli cheese soup, it's outstanding. All the meats, all the breads, all the cheeses, all the spreads that you've come to know and love at Jason's Deli. They like to say wholesome food forever. It's a family thing, whether you're dining in, to go, delivery, everything safe, everything contactless, everything right at the point of sale. All the salads, the Mesa chicken salad, the chicken club salad, the nutty mixed up salad, and my favorite, the taco salad at any of these locations. And you can wrap it all up at the locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova with the complimentary ice cream. And it's safe, it's contactless, everything. Very mindful of the times we live in. Over 200 Memphis area Jason's Deli associates, they appreciate you for sticking with them for about a year now, and we appreciate Jason's Deli for sticking with us so often. They're part of our big game coverage at the Super Bowl, not this year, but maybe back again next year. Trans fat-free food at Jason's Deli, where it's all about choice. You will be delighted with any of the menu items at Jason's Deli. Plenty of organic food to choose from. The great salad bar, over 30 items right there to choose from. They will prepare it for you, and catering anytime, anywhere. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. We come back, we wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
It's that time of year again. Time for the big game and time for taxes. David Nanny, CPA, can help you with both. He's sponsoring this year's big game coverage on Sports 56, and David and his team have all the experience you need for all your tax filing needs, too. Whether it's a return for an individual or for a small business, give him a call today. 901-763-2000. That's 901-763-2000. David Nanny, CPA, for you.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't. And thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? 5 Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5 Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday baked chicken, Tuesday chicken fried steak, yum, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $7.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $9.99. And veggie plate, $8.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Mondays, karaoke. Tuesdays, Debbie Jameson. Wednesdays, Elmo and the Shades. Thursdays, Eddie Smith. And the best Memphis music all weekend at Neil's Bar and Grill,
where the fat man rocks.
This is a job alert. If you're looking for work, this will interest you, whether you're looking for full-time, part-time, or even something temporary if you've been recently furloughed. Text 107-JOB to 49330. That's 107-JOB to 49330. Office work available now in a clean office environment with all COVID precautions taken. Text 107-JOB to 49330 and someone will be in touch about these job opportunities available now. Text 107-JOB to 49330.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, that we hit fame.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell!
Boop! Choo-choo! What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
All 1, all 2, all 3. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Tomorrow we will have Greg Gaston with us, as we do every week, talking Tigers. We'll also visit with Todd Lebo from Kansas City. We had Todd on before the AFC Championship game. He's getting all set for Super Bowl 55. NFL conversation with Russell Copeland as well. Keith Smith from Yahoo on the NBA. So a lot coming up tomorrow. But today I learned that Tom Brady playing until 45, he's a miracle, man, just to be out there now. But there would have been quarterbacks before him, Drew, if we'd had these rules, the proper rules, preventing just dropping somebody on their head. Yeah, he's doing it, and he's the first to do it, but we would have had somebody before now do it because, you just can't hit the quarterback by rule anymore. You land on him, and it's a penalty.
Yeah, you're right. There would have definitely been guys whose careers would have gone longer if they hadn't gotten as many bumps and bruises along the way that probably would have already reached the 45. Heck, we might have already had a guy to reach the 46 to 48 mark. Who knows, but I'm glad the rules are in place the way that they are nowadays. I learned today that Bradley Beal is the first player to score 25-plus points in the first 16 games of the season since Michael Jordan did it in the 88-89 season when he led his Chicago Bulls to the Eastern Conference Finals. Unfortunately for Bradley Beal, he's sitting at 4-12, are the Wizards, and I doubt he'll be able to say the same thing when the season's over.
Yeah, but to join anything that Michael Jordan did, it's a little bit like Tom Brady in the future.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, he's got a good chance to do that. If he wins on Sunday, that's 2 down, 4 to go to get to the 6 that Brady has. That seems like Mount Everest, though. But he will be a third on the way there. Way to go, Bradley Beal. Could have done without Dillon Brooks going out and getting 25 last night, and the Grizzlies losing. That's okay, though. Kind of a schedule loss, 9-7. Finally back at FedEx Forum tomorrow night. A few more fans can go as it's being relaxed a little. First time since MLK Day that the Grizzlies will be at home. That's 17 days. Isn't that right, between home games? I think that's right.
That was the last home game because then the 5 straight cancellations piled up right after that win against Phoenix.
There's going to be a lot of games to make up. The Grizzlies, with the 9-7 out of the 72 games, that's only 22% of the season played. So the season is still very young.
It is very young. A couple things I could have done without today. Could have done without the fact that Giannis Valanciunas will be out again tomorrow for the Grizzlies against Houston. Still under the health and safety protocol. It feels like he's been in that health and safety protocol now for about 4 months since we've seen him play for the Grizzlies. Another thing I learned today, and you mentioned it a little bit with Rick, and it just makes me sad. Is it a Super Bowl if the Clydesdale horses of Budweiser aren't there? I don't think so. If there's not a Budweiser commercial with some horses.
What about the Bud Bowl?
Exactly. I mean, who's Bud Light going to play? I mean, they're gonna venture out and go play Coors Light or Miller Lite? No, we need the ultimate rivalry of Budweiser versus Bud Light. The superior beer, the king of beers, needs to have a commercial in the Super Bowl.
If we can't have that rivalry and we can't have the two Houston radio stations fighting at Radio Row, what of it? Why even have a Super Bowl?
Exactly.
Keeping a close eye tonight on a lot of things. Tigers and UCF. Tigers 25-6 all time. For Memphis against UCF at home at 17-1 all time. So we know how this is going to end tonight. SMU at Tulsa in the AAC, LSU at Bama, and Kentucky at Mizzou in the SEC. 5-10, the hapless Kentucky Wildcats. Game of the night in the NBA, it will be Indiana at Milwaukee. That's two good teams, but I don't think either one of those will be around at the end of the year. Even in the Eastern Conference Finals, there are better teams than those two teams. So we'll keep a close eye on a lot of things. Drew, you heading to FedEx Forum?
Yes, I am. I will head there as soon as we get out.
Well, let's do that right now. So for Drew, I'm Brett, and for Dave in his absence, we'll be back with you tomorrow on Sports Time. Join us then at 3 o'clock.
Hey, I've got to take a minute to give a shout out to FanDuel Sportsbook.